It's time for Shawn and Maya in the morning.
Quick pitch to Walter, looking for the record, cuts back, he's got it, he's out of it at 25 to the 26-yard line. Walter Payton becomes the National Football League all-time leading rusher. Jordan, open, Chicago with the lead. The Chicago Bulls have won their 6th NBA championship. Chicago has won the Stanley Cup. Palmero over the head of Jenks. Uribe charges, throws, out! And the White Sox have won the World Series.
A little bouncer slowly toward Bryant. He will glove it, throw to Rizzo.
It's in time, and the Chicago Cubs win the World Series.
What up, what up, what up? Welcome to Shawn and Maya in the morning on this Bears Victory Monday, baby. 2 weeks in a row, the Bears are white hot with a 2-0 record. Okay, maybe I'm lying. Maybe they're not white hot. But you know what? They're 2-0, and it's a Bears Victory Monday, and we'll take it. I ain't giving it back. I don't care how ugly it was. I ain't giving it back. Guys, thanks for tuning in. I'm your boy, the Superback, Shawn Sierra. And if you're watching us on Facebook Live, well, then I guess you found us on Facebook. If you're watching us on the app, well, then I guess you found us on the app. But if you're watching this on YouTube, then I guess you found us on YouTube. And if you're not watching us on YouTube, download the YouTube channel. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, SportsZone Chicago. It would be appreciated. Now, listen, we have a great show for you, but I want to say what's up to my co-host in absentia, Maya Kai. If you want to follow me on social media, guess what I did? I made it nice and easy for you folks. One handle for Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat. All one handle at the Shawn Sierra. If you want to follow my lovely co-host, Maya Kai, you can follow her on Facebook and Twitter at the Sports Chica. If you want to follow her on Instagram because you do it just for the gram, just follow her at Maya_Akai. It's MAYA_AKAI. I want to say what's up to my guy. He's a little internet sensation now, a little internet superstar. Our little producer over here. He's a man behind the curtain. He is our he has a Puerto Rican Swiss Army knife with his own, show and a half or 2 shows on Sunday. Big baller. He's in the public eye now. What's up? Let's bring him out. Ivan Vargas, what's up, superstar?
What's up, dude? I'm exhausted. I know that. I'm a superstar. I'm really tired. My voice is hoarse, and I wasn't even yelling. Like, I was trying to keep it to a minimum, like trying to keep my emotion. You know how it gets. Like, if the Bears screw up, we're throwing something down the hallway and stomping over there to pick it up and bring it back. But you know what I'm saying? Like, it was fun. I enjoy it. I love it. But I'm not happy. Like, I'm not happy at all with what I saw. It was like this is a tale of two halves type of team, and I talked about it before. Finding an identity. That's not the identity that I want to find. Like they did exactly what I was telling you last week was, hey man, I think they should start out quick. I think they should get out going quick, and they did that. 17 points right off the bat. And then what the hell happened? You started coasting. You started slowing down the offense. You slowed down Mitch, and that led to bad things. I mean, I don't think Mitch performed bad by any means. I thought one of those interceptions was on the receiver. Clearly, Allen Robinson, he didn't make the catch. The guy came down with the ball and not him. But the ball was on the money. I think Mitch played decent, but what the hell happened in the second half with the play calling to get him? They were rolling him out. The pocket was moving, so you had a moving pocket almost, and he was protected. You were running play action, and then all of a sudden it would just seem like they were just slow.
Well, let's not get too crazy. All right, don't get. Did you want to give that victory back? I'm not sure because it sounds like you want to give it back.
I want to give the victory back.
Okay. So let's not be negative. Say okay, we're 2-0 like a whole bunch of other teams.
Yeah.
There's a whole bunch of other teams that are 0-2. All right, we could easily we could be 0-2, but we're not. So let's focus on it. Let's not be negative, Nancy. We got these 2 wins, and it doesn't mean that we're gonna go to the Super Bowl playing like this. So you and I both know, and I think the Bears know we got to play a lot better. But you know what? I'd rather work on the things that we need to work on, being 2-0.
Yeah.
Than work on the things we need to work on, being 0-2.
No, I don't think. Like I said, I think there was leaps and bounds from the beginning of the Detroit game. I thought they played really well, but like I said, they disappear all of a sudden for some time. And
Yeah,
I think
they do. We'll get into it. We'll get into it a little later. We got a lot of Bears coverage today. A lot of Bears conversation today. But listen, like I said, I got a great show for you today. Man, you know how we do. The guy, he's waiting in the wings. He's warming up. He's getting lathered up right as we speak. I see him on the screen. I see you, Papa. I see you. He's getting ready. You know, our guy, he's a sports editor over at the Chicago Crusaders. So Joe Phillips is coming on in a few seconds. Okay. 10 o'clock, we have Louis Medina from Bleacher Nation, and we're going to do double duty with Louis. Louis covers the Bears and the Cubs. So we're going to have a lot of Bears conversation with Louis Medina at 10 o'clock. And then at the end of the interview, might go a little long. We're going to talk a little Cubs with Louis Medina just because he is versatile like that, or versatile, if you like this. You like to go that way. And then Kenneth Davis at 10 o'clock. And then Jason Palmer at 11 to close out the show. So listen, without further ado, you know how we do. The first segment of every show is called Top of the Morning Tea. And these are the hot topics of the night before, or just some sports in general. And boy, oh boy, do we have some doozies. Our Top of the Morning segment is powered by the Chicago Crusader. And with that, we want to bring in our man. He is our sports editor. He is a good friend of the program, and he's anxious. I'm liking his shirt. Look at him. His wife is dressing him good, boy. Let's bring him out. My man, Joseph Phillips. Joseph, what up, Papa?
Good morning, Papa. God bless.
How you doing, brother?
Man, Victory Monday. Bears.
Victory Monday. 2 weeks in a row, baby. Oh, yeah.
I called it last week, baby. Called it last week. We're on the way to the Super Bowl.
Hey, like my buddy Eddie, guy who owns Output, is like Super Bowl, Super Bears.
That's all we know. That's all we know. We only speak one language, Super Bowl language.
How was your weekend?
Oh, man, it was great, man. I finally had a great game yesterday on the basketball court.
You did?
I spoke
last week, messed around and got a triple-double. That was
No, I hit 2 3-pointers, man. I was like really shocked and surprised because I had called my shots as off, but they went straight through the net. And then that last shot that I took, I was like, oh, you going to give me the 3? I'll take it. And it went straight through the net. So shout out to the illegal rims put up where I was at. You know, we ran a whole foot. And the lights came on last night. So I hooped for like 2 hours yesterday. It was great.
What?
Yes, sir.
2 hours.
And we won back-to-back games too, man. So I'm pumped right now. I feel like the Bears 2-0.
Yes, 2-0. Dude, that's awesome. You know what? I haven't hooped in a minute. I can't really run. I can't hoop very much right now because my Achilles is a little jacked up. So it's I'm not trying to, rip an Achilles and.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I don't want nothing to happen to you, Big Shawn.
No, definitely try to get that done. No way, Jose. So I'll stick to my CrossFit. And even when we run in CrossFit, I hop on the bike. Today I hopped on the bike. We had a couple 200-meter runs. And I was like, yeah, I'm hopping on a bike. So I just hop on a bike. But anyway, man. Guys, let's get right to it. Like I said, top of the morning topics. These are the hot topics of the night before, or just some sports in general. And man, oh man, do we got some doozies. Let's get right to it, Joseph. The big, bad, bullying Bears with a 17-13 beatdown of the New York Football Giants. Okay, maybe it wasn't a beatdown. Let's keep it real. 17-13, the Bears hang on. All right, Mr. Trubisky, as Ivan mentioned earlier, the tale of two halves. Mr. Trubisky, end game totals 18-28, 190 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions to go with 78 quarterback rating. And here's the thing. Let's talk about MVP Mitch, Money Mitch. Ivan, come on in, Papa. So here's my thing. Okay, what was I asking you last week? Mitch had one really good quarter. Remember? Yeah. What was I saying? I said, all right, you gave us 3 crappy quarters and you gave us 1 great quarter. I'm like, I don't need a great quarter. I just need a good quarter. What was I asking them last week? Give me 2 good quarters. Mm-hmm. Remember I was asking him? So he did that. He gave us 2 good quarters. Unfortunately, they're both in the first half. Because in the second half, he went to hell. So now I'm asking Mitch, give me 3 good quarters. Okay, we're building blocks. Right? Mitch is going to be the league MVP this year right now. Okay, so we're just going to build an incremental improvement. So you give me 3 quarters, and I'll be 3 good quarters, Mitch, and I'll be good. Because you mean to tell me if he had 1 good quarter in the second half, that game is over. Over.
It should have been over. It should have been over for Eddie Jackson's interception. You know,
that was such a crappy call.
The guy, and then the guy has the audacity to come back and tell Bojack, my bad. How are you gonna come tell the man my bad, dog? You blew the play. It's over. Like he's right that there needs to be something, a suspension or something. Because dude, like you're changing games with missed calls like that. That was a game changer.
I agree.
It ended the whole game. That was a piss.
That was the final nail in the coffin.
Yes.
But you know what? Like my you got to remember, like Jason Palmer, who'll be joining us at 11. Like he says, they haven't had practice either.
Yeah.
They go through. They've had there's no OTAs. I mean the training camps, everything got pushed back. All right. Then you had no OTAs. So they're not working there, because that's what the crews do to get ready for the season. Then no preseason games. You got 4 weeks to work your way up and kind of get your referee whistle, your referee lungs to blow your whistle and underneath you. And so they jump right into the regular season just like the players. So
that's right. Yeah, and there's a difference between regular speed and football speed. Mm-hmm. And yesterday you got a chance to see the Bears prevail in spite of them playing at football speed. So I'll take these W's any day of the week. Like I said, I'd rather be on the winning end than on the losing end while we're getting in shape. And then by that 4th or that 5th game, hopefully our defense can come together. We got the mighty Quinn rushing, getting a strip fumble. Then Khalil sack attack Mac, picking up the fumble, celebrating. Yo, Rob, I heard him calling him like, we got him. So we see that more often. And let's get this defense going. Bear down, baby. Bear down.
You know what? I'll tell you what. That was, dude, let me just tell you something. When Robert Quinn came on the field, and he came off that corner, that first play, there was a big difference between the guy who wore 94 yesterday and the guy who wore 94 the last couple of years for the Bears, and that was Leonard Floyd. That was a grown-ass Mickey Ficky man coming off that corner yesterday. A grown-ass Mickey Ficky man with intent on wreaking havoc. And I'll tell you what, that got me – I think I tinkled a little bit. I'm like, whoa. All right. To see that type of aggression, speed, power, determination from someone else on the other side of Khalil Mack, that I'm telling you, I tinkled a little bit. I was so excited because I'm like, wait till he gets into football shape. Give him another 2 games, and that'll be the end of the first quarter of the season. He'll be in football shape. Khalil will be in football shape. And then that's the point where they're going to say, who the hell do we double team? Or put it this way, who the hell can't we double team? Because Akeem Hicks had a sack as well. Akeem Hicks is like, brah. I love it when he's fighting, and then he's finally able to he'll flip one guy, get the other guy, and he's just like the Hulk. Like a Hulk. Like he's in between 2 big 300-pound offensive linemen, like, blah! And all of a sudden he just goes, I was like, Akeem, tell you what, and don't get me wrong, the defense, we're going to talk about them. We're going to talk smack about them too, because they didn't get off the field when they should have at times. Okay, but again, a lot of his conditioning, a lot of it's just not having your feet underneath you. But seeing Robert Quinn, I mean, I digress to my original point. Seeing Robert Quinn come off that corner yesterday on that first play,
it's a difference.
Oh my God, man, hell yeah, it's a difference. That's a professional quarterback seeker. Seeker. He's a QB seeking missile. boy. And you know what? I'm good with it. I'm good, and I know he didn't do much after that. But I'll tell you what, I think that was his only tackle as a strip sack of the QB yesterday.
I'll take it.
I will take it with the way if that's the indication of what he's got, and we've seen it when he's in from previous years. But now he's on our team. Oh yeah, baby. You watch it. You watch out.
You know, it was like you said, they didn't get off the field when they should have. And late in the game, when the Giants started making their little run, you got to give credit to the Bears defense anyway. They held them to 13 points. Right. 13 points. That's what that's honestly against the New York Giants. That's where they should be. They should live 13 or under. So I think the defense did their job. My problem was just you're not starting out fast enough on offense. Like you have to be consistent on both sides. And I think the defense took a break. I think the offense took a break in certain spots during the game. And that you need a consistent flow. You need everybody to be together at least for 3.5 quarters or 3 quarters, like you said. I don't know about 2 because they made it a little too close. With and a better team would have won that game. Would have came back and won that game, but we're 2-0. I'm happy that we're 2-0, Shawn. I don't want to give the victory back, but it's fair to say that they have work to do, but it looks promising. There's things that look promising.
Let me know, but here's the thing, though. Let me know a team that's firing on all cylinders and looks phenomenal.
Right.
Just because there's a couple teams or other teams are 2-0 doesn't mean they look phenomenal.
Right.
The Chiefs. Do you think the Chiefs look phenomenal?
They got work to do too.
And shout out to the offensive line. Let's get them some props. That running game looked pretty good yesterday. Watching David Montgomery, get big game, not being stopped after the first, the first wave of tackles. He's breaking tackles. In addition to that, he's hitting the gaps. And that last drive, I believe, it actually ate up the clock for us, which put the Giants in position to fail. You see what I mean? So we left it in the hands of the defense, and they came through, and that's what we needed. I know it was an ugly win. It felt like a loss yesterday, but hey, look what's going across that bottom line. There's Giants 17-13. True. He did everything in 2 TDs, 2 interceptions.
Shawn,
2-0.
Shawn, I'm sorry, Joseph. I was telling Shawn earlier, I don't think Trubisky played awful at all. I think, like I said, you could chalk out one of those interceptions for sure to Allen Robinson for not securing that football. But I don't think he played terrible. If he hits Allen on that pass, he's over 200 yards. They probably march down and they probably score a touchdown.
Mm-hmm. And Allen Robinson looked like he had a lot on his mind. With that contract situation. It looked like he wasn't giving his, and I'm not saying he wasn't giving his normal effort, but it looked like he kind of half-heartedly played on a few possessions. Like, hey man, I don't want to risk getting injured, so therefore, if I don't want to give you 100%. If you're not gonna give me 100%, you're not gonna give me my money. I'm not gonna make those spectacular plays for you.
I'll say this. I don't know if it's him quitting. I think he was trying to do too damn much. I think he was in his head, but I think he was trying to do too damn much to show the Chicago Bears, hey, you need me. Allen Robinson makes a spectacular. He did it right off the bat. He made a spectacular catch.
Yeah, he made a spectacular catch.
And then throughout the game. Well, I'm sorry. What? Go ahead, Joseph.
I say he made a spectacular catch on around the first 2 or 3 possessions, and then after that he went into alligator arm mode.
Mm-hmm.
He started to bring his hands back. Remember I called that Chris Bryant play, and I was like, Chris, come on now, don't do that to us. Don't throw games on us. I know your money situation is in your head, but at the end of the day, you still got to go out there and play because you can actually get killed out there if you take plays off. If the right guy hits you. In the game of football, that's nothing to play with. So that's a game that you have to go 100 miles an hour on every possession and let the game come to you. So just be careful with that. And like we were talking about last week, that would this affect his gameplay, throughout the season? Would this be a problem throughout the season? And yesterday kind of showed me that, this is like game 1 of this post-trade me Allen Robinson. You see what I mean?
Here's the thing. here's a couple of things. I agree. Allen Robinson should have had that one where the DB didn't even look. First of all, it's a great play by the DB. All right, let's not just put it on Allen Robinson. It was a great play by the DB. Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
But by the same token, we've seen Allen Robinson do that often, make that play often. And when you get it, you have to just hold on to the ball, not worry about getting in your arm, tuck it in your arm. You got to hold it and caress it. I mean, and squeeze the hell out of it. And whoever's hand, if the DB's hand's in there, then you're holding his hand too. And he's trying to take it out, and you're not letting him. All right, and it's a struggle. And when you hit the ground, and even when the ref blows the whistle, like give me the ball, you still hold on to that sucker to show that you got the ball. That's part of that's one of the things that I saw. But also, Mitch, you got to throw that up. You got to throw that up. Because if you put it at Allen Robinson's head, or if you throw a ball, make him jump to where he's got to extend over his head to get the ball, or you know what I mean, then guess what? That DB doesn't put a hand on it because Allen Robinson can catch it, actually just bring it behind his head.
He didn't put a hand on it. His back was turned to him. He didn't put a hand on it at all. He didn't even see the ball coming.
No. I understand. But I'm saying that ball needs to be higher because he had to literally reach back over the defensive back and catch the ball and basically right over his helmet. That ball's got to be up a little higher. All right. We've seen Allen Robinson make those, jump, especially that, like you said, the guy's back's to the ball. There's no way he can get it if you throw it up.
Right.
But once you make him go over the defensive back, he's still right in the play, which he put his hand up, he yanked the ball down, and he was able to get the interception. Again, phenomenal play by the DB. Let's give credit where credit's due. All right, he
had no clue where the ball was, and he still made the play. Yeah,
right. Because what you're doing is you're reading the eyes of the receiver. All right, when you're a DB, you read the eyes of the receiver. Why? Because when his eyes get big is when the ball's coming. And one of my receivers, my college coaches taught me that, and so we practice on not getting it. Certain receivers practice not going like this when the ball's coming because you're looking at the ball and you see it coming. So we talking crazy practice. I'm telling you. But anyway, I think Allen Robinson did have something on his mind, and we know what it was. It's his money. And let's not forget something else. They just signed Tariq Cohen the day before. And they're like, whoa, hold on, player. Hold on, player. I'm the number one receiver. My contract, I think he should feel disrespected.
Okay, but the Bears should. I'm sorry, but the Bears should feel disrespected. You deleted all your you threw a temper tantrum in the midst of discussions. Were you expecting them to not go ahead and continue on with the players that are actively trying to be on this roster? I mean, I'm not saying that Allen isn't, but you got to continue on with the players that are in contract negotiation. You got to continue on. You can't just move back because Allen deleted all his pictures off social media of the Chicago Bears. Allen, we're not. This is a professional football team. This isn't us, playing babysitter or catering to Allen because Allen's throwing a temper tantrum. Although Allen needs to be re-signed and is our best receiver. You see what I'm saying? Like you have to
watch it. He better watch it too because Darnell Mooney, man. I'm telling you now. Darnell. Like this guy, he has great improvisation skills. You see what I mean? Like he's breaking off routes and improv. Something that I haven't seen from a Bears wide receiver since Willie Gault. Okay, so what I'm saying is that, at the end of the day, man, if he's becoming one of Mitch's favorite targets, him and Mr. Wims, like I said, we don't got time for ego stuff. We got one goal on our mind. That's the Super Bowl. We understood that Eddie Goldman, he decided to sit out. Hopefully he comes back in the end of the season. I don't know. But Allen Robinson, he has to be the last guy to bring this type of drama into the season. We just need him to just be quiet and just play football. That's all. You're going to get your money. Trust me. It was a flu pandemic or it was a COVID-19 pandemic. That's what held up the negotiations. He has to come to reality and grips with that. And right now, it seems like he's trying to whine a little bit and blame it all on the Bears for not signing him prior to COVID-19. First of all, you only played 1 year, one good full year of football. I was telling what's up, cuz the same thing. I'm like, man, you only played 1 good year of football. Like that's really not enough on a resume to extend you long term. We want to see if you can stay healthy. over a 1 year period because you have an injury history. You see what I mean? So just go out there and play football. You're going to get your money whether you get hurt or not. The Bears are going to take good care of you, whether that's in good character or good nature.
You know, it is frustrating because you know you're the best receiver on the team. You're one of the top top receivers in the league, like second tier. He's at the top of that second tier receiving core, and he feels like he should get his money, you know. And I agree with you, but there's also comes a point in time you got to. It kind of goes both ways. Like the Bears gave you a big ass contract, you know, when you're coming off an ACL. You know what I mean? So you have to realize that's the whole thing, and they didn't have to give you that contract at that particular point. And yes, other teams were in the running, okay, but the Bears still chose to give you that. You came here probably because of the money they gave you, okay. When they didn't know what you were going to do, how you're going to react, how you're going to come back after the ACL. All right, but yeah, I know we've seen Adrian Peterson come back and rush for 2,000 yards. It's great, but you're not Adrian Peterson. All right, they don't know what to expect from you because you're coming off an injury. But so they kind of went out and said, okay, as a show of good faith, we'll give you this contract. We saw what you could do when healthy, got 1,400 yards down in Jacksonville. So we'll bank on that then. So him throwing a tantrum, I mean, I could see why it could mess with his head, but he's also, you know, yeah, he was throwing a tantrum like we talked about. But, you know, I think that seeing Tariq Cohen get a new contract kind of jacked him up a little bit because he was like, man, dude, you know, I should be getting paid. Now, listen, the only thing is I'm trying to find it. Ian Rappaport talked about that the Bears and his representation are talking. They've exchanged offers. So he said, don't be surprised if that deal, an extension for Allen Robinson, gets done this week. So, you know, so an extra week, you know, see, and this is the thing that, you know, it was a week ago that he did all this stuff, okay, whining and complaining, and all he had to do was be patient. All you had to do was say, okay, stay on your representation. Say, hey guys, keep, you know, going back to the Bears, holler at them, let's get this done. Stay calm, stay cool, stay collected. But what did he do? You know, he threw a little fit. He deletes his all the social media stuff of everything Bears and sets a firestorm. Like that's not necessary.
It was immediate. It was immediate, and the Bears coming off of a victory, but a iffy victory. You know, a trying victory.
Right.
It's like, come on, dude. Really, right now, when the Bears are trying to make a run, when the Bears are trying to, this is a redemption year. Right. This is a redemption year for the entire team. Because the league has pretty much written you off as a bottom tier team. That you're not going to go anywhere. Mitch Trubisky's not going to get you. Your defense is over the hill. All of a sudden, for some reason, our defense is over the hill nationally. Khalil Mack's not even a top 10 pass rusher, or he's not even a top 5 pass rusher. So to me, it's like, Alan, this isn't the time for the negotiation. Like they're making sure that you're going to get your money, but you can't go ahead and rush something, especially when the unknown, like a COVID-19 pandemic, you know, comes to your doorstep. You can't just rush the unknown.
Right. That's right. Totally agree.
Yeah, it's a lot more has been made of it than necessary for Allen Robinson, because again, it was just a week ago he did that. He just stayed calm and they still worked on it this week. It's like, okay. And I was just kind of being a little bit of a jerk too, because, you know, Tariq, like, you can't worry about anybody else's money.
Right.
You can't. And Tariq Cohen, you know, that's your boy. You know, everyone, like, you know, he has his talents too. You know, he was not utilized very well last year, and that's not his fault. That's Matt Nagy's fault. But as a punt returner, he was good. So just wait, get your money. Plus, also, again, I'm positive they just kind of wanted to see this salary cap reduction, what it's going to be. You know, so I'm okay with them signing Tariq Cohen. I see why it could have got into Allen Robinson's head, but you have to put that aside. You promised us, you said in an interview to us, to the media, that it wasn't going to be an issue, and yesterday you made it an issue, and so that's the thing that kind of bugs me. And
also, you know, I just want to say this: all wide receivers have an ego. Okay, like you know, like that's nothing new. You know, most wide receivers are prima donnas. Either you have the quiet ones, who may do things through actions, and then you have the verbally, the most, the most
Keyshawn Johnsons, the Michael Irvins.
Right, the outspoken ones, those who tell you what they're going to do, and then they do. So at the end of the day, I'm not surprised. Hopefully, Allen can clean this up, move on throughout the season. Right now, we need to be celebrating that the Bears are 2-0, even though it felt like a loss yesterday. We got the W. And then in addition to that, let's give props to the other guys that's on the field that are making plays too. Like I said, I think Mooney is a sleeper, man. I like his game. I like the way how he runs routes and make big plays. And Allen, if you don't want to get your act together, we'll love to throw the ball to that young man.
Well, listen, we got to take a quick break. And on the other side of the break, we have more top of the morning topics. So don't go anywhere. Keep it locked right here. Shawn and Maya in the morning on SportsZone Chicago.
BoomerNaturals.com presents the Sports Flash on 1330 and 95.9 The Zone. The White Sox are going to the playoffs for the first time since 2008 after a 4-3 victory on Thursday over Minnesota. Eloy Jimenez with a tie-breaking double that capped a 2-run seventh-inning rally. Chicago now 33-17. They opened up a 3-game lead over the second-place Twins in the AL Central. The Sox assured themselves of no worse than a wild-card berth. Jose Abreu also homered and drove in a pair of runs. Edwin Encarnacion going deep as well for the Sox, who won 3 of 4 in the series. Chicago heads to Cincinnati to take on the Reds tonight. Day off for the Cubs on Thursday. They'll take on the Twins tonight at home. It'll be Kyle Hendricks getting the nod against Rich Hill. The Cardinals home against Pittsburgh tonight. St. Louis fell 5-1 at Pittsburgh on Thursday. Boomer Naturals, your source for 3-layer protective face masks. Breathable protection for adults and kids. Save 20% with promo code SPORTS at BoomerNaturals.com. Chuck Sanders, that's the Sports Flash, 1330 95.9 The Zone.
I am Disinfector.
What's with him?
I told him flu shots gave us a superpower against germs.
CVS is your one-stop shop for immunity support. From hand wipes to vitamins that are third-party tested to confirm they meet our high standards.
Take that, germs.
Plus, get a $5 off $20 shopping pass when you get a free flu shot. Visit CVS today. No-cost flu shots with most insurance. Restrictions apply. Visit CVS.com and CVS.com/tested for details.
Whether class is in school, at home, or a little bit of both, school goes on.
And Staples has everything you need to start the year right.
From lap desks to notebooks, noise-canceling headphones to UV sanitizers.
And all at amazing prices. This week, pocket folders, comp books, and 4-ounce Elmer's glue are just 25 cents each.
Shop in-store or pick up curbside. School on, save on at Staples.
Ends 9/19. In-store only. Limit 6 while supplies last. Curbside available in most stores.
Welcome back to Shawn and Maya in the morning on SportsZone Chicago on this House Music Monday edition. Bears Victory Monday. Yes, baby, it's a one heck of a day today. I'm liking it. It's going to be 75 degrees depending on how far you are away from the lake, man. It's going to be nice and warm today. Dude, what do we do to deserve this? I like it. I like it a lot.
Love it, man. Right on the lakefront, man, looking out the window, man. Sun is shining beautiful on the Museum of Science and Industry. Man, this is a great day to ride a bike, man, and just enjoy yourself.
Hell, I might go drive down Lakeshore Drive, go cruising down Lakeshore Drive with the windows down on the caddy, the music blasting. That's some type of therapy I like. I can get into. They're a little old school hip hop and R&B, a little Biggie, a little Tupac, a little Nas, a little Wu-Tang. You know what I'm saying? Give me some of that. Just blaring it on Lakeshore Drive. Started the museum, go all the way up to Hollywood and back.
Oh wow! Hey, watch out for the sneaky cops, man, because they be hiding under that bridge, bro. With the,
with the gun.
They got the guns ready for you. I always watch them when I'm driving. I was like, wow, this guy's hiding under the bridge. You can't even see him, And then he comes out of nowhere with the gun, like right behind you, So just be careful.
I will. Hey, we're back in our top of the morning. We got some people texting in and want to say what's up. Vernon Vernon Fairley was up. Bubba, how are you? Thanks for tuning in. He had a couple questions. Oh, not questions, just comments. He said, Sox fans, please don't go suicidal over the Red Series. No. I mean, I wanted to tighten it up right now, but no, I'm not going suicidal. It says the Bears finally won their first 2 games for the first time in years, but they still got lucky. They did. But again, did you want to give those games? Did you want to give it back, Vernon, or are you okay with it? He said, but they'll lose that 3rd game. We'll see. The Falcons are 0-2. All right. We're going down to Atlanta, and I think I think the Bears realize that they need work to do. I think they realize that both games could have gone either way. Okay. So I'm not worried about this next week. And here's the reason why I'm not worried. 135 yards rushing for the Bears yesterday. Okay. 135 yards rushing. That means they stuck to the run game. You follow me? They stuck to the run game. Give me that. You know what I'm saying? Give me that. That's what I'm talking about. You mentioned it earlier. Okay. There's a commitment to the run game. I wouldn't call them a running team yet, but there's been a commitment in the first 2 games to the running game by Matt Nagy. And that, let me tell you something, that I'm appreciative of. And I am very appreciative of.
That's correct. And that keeps the ball out of Mr. Trubisky's hands.
Bingo.
See Mr. Trubisky throwing late game interceptions, then run the ball. If you don't trust him in those situations, then run the ball. Like yesterday, it was so clutch what David Montgomery did. He returned from a neck injury, and he consistently hit the holes with intensity. And not only hit the holes with intensity, he was breaking tackles in addition to that, hitting us first downs, dragging guys to the line, 82 yards. And he actually could have rushed over 100 yards if he wouldn't have had to lead the game a little early. So what I'm saying is that it's been a balanced attack from both the running game and the passing game. Right now, the running game is ahead of the passing game. And hopefully we can use this as a foundation for many games to come.
What did I say that I wanted from this offense? I want you to run 30 times a game. What do they have yesterday? 32 rushes. Okay? 32 rushes. That's what I want. Okay? Because it puts the offensive line in a specific mode. Okay? It puts them in attack mode. I know that I'm running the ball 30 times, I get to impose my will on you 30 times, a minimum of 30 times. And I'll tell you that changes the mindset of an offensive lineman going into a game. I think it's great. I think Matt Nagy has finally seen the error in his ways in the past 2 seasons of not running the ball consistently. And I think it's at least in his first 2 weeks. And don't forget, he's got new offensive coaches, a new offensive line coach, new offensive coordinator, although we know Matt calls the plays. But nonetheless, maybe they're saying, hey, listen, you need to run the ball more. Maybe you need to run the ball more. So, and finally he's listening, because you give me, 32 rushes, I'll take it. And you talked about, Joseph, you said if Dave Montgomery hadn't gotten hurt, he would have had over 100 yards. They would have kept feeding him. Oh yeah, I agree with you completely. And that would have been a beautiful, beautiful thing, because you just keep wearing them down, because these guys aren't in football shape yet. No one's in football shape yet.
Right.
So when you start beating them with the run, it wears you down physically, it wears you down emotionally, it wears you down mentally,
and it kills the clock too. If you really want to watch someone eat up time, run that football and move those hashes. And not only that, like I said, they were making progress from the line of scrimmage. Man, David Montgomery was breaking away for like 8-yard runs, 9-yard runs, 10-yard runs. And I haven't seen that from the Bears in years. I'm not going to lie to you, especially from David Montgomery. I know last year was his first year, and every time he got the ball in the backfield, he was hit immediately. Now, he's actually getting through the holes. Boom, step through the hole. Somebody touch his arm, get off him. Somebody grab his leg, get off him. Then he do a few jukes here, next thing you know, first down. So let's keep that running game going. It's building momentum. That's old school smash mouth football. As you say, Superback, there's only one way to win, and that's running that football.
And the gashes that they were getting, I mean, that's good to see. It's good to see that they have the ability to wear down a football team like that. The gashes that they were getting late in the game was all but sealed the deal for the Bears. I mean, you had them coming back downfield on offense, but them controlling the clock with the amount of yards that David Montgomery and Cordero got on that final drive, I think it pretty much, like I said, it locked them up. It put them in a position where they had to go with 0 timeouts.
That's right.
Yeah, we got another texter. Joshua Davidson said he wants to know is Allen Robinson worth $18 million he's asking for that puts him in line with OBJ and more than Mike Evans. He thinks the $16 million the Bears offered him is in line, but don't blame him for trying to get more money. Yeah, never blame a guy for trying to make money. All right, and I'm not going to say to feed his family. If you're getting $18 million, $16 million, $12 million, $8 million, you're feeding your God blessed family. Okay, just stop eating steak and lobster for dinner every freaking night. All right, you're feeding your family. I just think if you give him, guy's 27. So I know he's asking for $18 million. But if you give him $16 million over 4 years, 5 years, I think he'll take it. And so you're not where you wanted. You're not but see, you always ask for more than you expect. Right? That's why it's called negotiation. Right. So you give him 16, even if it's 15 and a half, but you give him a big signing bonus. Okay, you give him a big signing bonus, and so a lot of his money comes up front. He's happy. So I think he's worth it? So answer the question. Do I think he's worth 18 million? No. 15, 16 million? Yeah. And he'll, because again, he's in that second tier. All right. He's at the top of that second tier of wide receivers, but he's not in that top tier of wide receivers. So I'd say between 15, I'd even go 16 and a half to 17 mil, but 18 up, no, he's not worth it. Just give him a longer deal, an extra year on the contract. Front load the contract with a big signing bonus, and you can cut him at the end if he's not producing, and he would have got the majority of that money. So
that's right. Yeah, like I said, when it comes to Allen Robinson and making that type of money, $16 million a year, like I said, we need to just kind of wait on that a little bit. Even though they're going to get a deal done, but $16 million is a little bit too much yearly. I think it is. And I'm not trying to take away from his game or anything like that, but he hasn't proved enough, to make that type of money. I know that he had great years with Jacksonville, but this is not Jacksonville. This is Chicago. Okay. So, you're just coming off an ACL injury. You did well last year. Great. That's only 1 year. But now you're demanding, like you've been playing great for us for 5 years. And the type of money you're demanding, I don't think the Bears should commit, that long-term money to him, like the individual. I don't think they should do that. I think they need to lower the price, even though that may be his max offer or what he's asking for, but they need to lower it just a little bit, bring it back down to reality. Here's the reality. You have 1 good year, okay? Nothing else. 1 good year, you're not about to take us to the bank, okay? 1 good year. Here's our offer. If you like it, great. If not, we'll negotiate after the season. And if you're ready to go somewhere else, hey, we have to trade you away and get a better draft pick.
16 and a half and 7 to like 17 and a quarter, I would say, for Allen Robinson. Shawn said it, and I think he's right. He's at that. If this is top tier and this is second tier, Allen Robinson is in the middle. Like Allen Robinson is right there. That's how good he is. But if you're going to pay him if you're going to pay him anything more than 17 and like a quarter, 17 and a half, you're talking about him being an elite receiver. You're talking about him being in that top tier group. You know what I'm saying? So then that's where the negotiations get heated, because then Allen sees himself as, as up here when we see him a little bit, in that first to second range. But I like Allen. I want them to pay Allen. I just don't think it's going to be anything more than like 17 and a half.
Well, you got your A-listers in Hollywood and your B-listers. So hopefully, if he does get that type of money, he can move to that A-list elite group and eventually give us and produce on the field like a top-tier receiver should.
Yeah, he should. Remember, here's what he got with the Bears. He got $4 million signing bonus of $6 million. It's $5 million now. So he got a lot his first year. $9 million with the 9.9 and 19 to so the 15. And this year is 10, 12, 13, 14, about another 14 mil, 15 mil. All right. So he's got a nice piece of change from us, especially in 2018 where he got the roster bonus is 5.8, so 6, 8, 12. He got 12 million in 18 coming off an ACL.
Right.
Coming off an ACL. That was the year. In 19 last year was his good year with us. So we'll see. But it seems like they're going to get it done, and I'm happy with that. Let's move on. Next top of the morning topic: the White Sox lose to the Reds. The Cincinnati Reds 7-3. They dropped the series, losing 2 of 3. Dylan Cease, my goodness gracious, he takes the loss. 3 innings pitched, 3 hits, 3 runs, all earned. 7, count them, Joseph. 7 walks, 5 punch outs, 80 pitches in those 3 innings. So my question to you, Joseph, is Dylan Cease's playoff slot in the number 3 spot gone?
Well, like I said, they're going to use these next few weeks to decide that. And I don't think they're going to give up on him so easy because, like I said, the verdict is still out on Dylan Cease. We don't know if he's a number 2, number 3, or number 4. And it depends on who he's facing also. Sometimes certain pitchers have matchup problems with different offensive lineups. And I believe in addition to that, I think the Sox have let their guards down just a little bit because they clinched that playoff berth on Thursday, last Thursday. So it's a combination of things. It maybe wasn't Dylan Cease's best game, but I think right now the Sox feel like, hey, we clinched the playoff berth. Now the next question is, do we want to clinch this division? How do we go about doing that? And if I was Rick Renteria, if you're trying to clinch the division, then you need to start focus on setting your rotation to match up with the lesser aces of other people's teams. Like the Cincinnati Reds, at the end of the day, they're strong offensively. They're hot also because they're actually in the playoff run right now. They're like the 8th seed in the National League. If the playoffs started today, they'll be playing against the Dodgers, the number 1 team in Major League Baseball. So the Reds are pretty hot right now. So you're catching them at a time where, they're putting that bat to the ball. So Cease probably ran into that buzzsaw a little bit, but I think he'll bounce back eventually. And he will probably be that number 3 spot in the rotation because he's all they have as far as just experience and consistency. You don't want to put a rookie in the number 3 spot and then you put him in a big situation like that and his knees start shaking. You don't want that problem.
I hear you. I don't know if his knees would start shaking though. I'm talking about Dane Dunning. From what I've seen, I like what I've seen, and plus the command. The command is 7 walks yesterday in 3 innings. It's not good. And he's been having issues with his control, his command. And I'm talking about Dylan Cease, the last few starts. Dane Dunning, on the other hand, is not. His control has been very good. I don't know. I think his number 3 slot in that first series might be gone. I think it belongs to Dylan Cease. To Dane Dunning now. I think it is. So we'll see. We'll see what they talk about. What Rick Renteria thinks about it. But I truly think he's done. I think his number 3 slot is gone to Mr. Dane Dunning. Next top of the morning topic. How much time we got? So we'll talk a little more baseball at the end of it. So next top of the morning topic: the Cubs fall to the Twins 4-0. They lose 2 out of 3 to the Minnesota Twins. Yeah, thanks a lot, Joseph. I thought you guys were.
We did win 1 game.
Yeah. Yu Darvish gets the loss. He's 7-2, 6 innings, 9 hits, 4 runs, all earned, a walk, 9 punch outs on 99 total pitches. Yeah, I thought you guys could kind of help us out and take 2 out of 3, but no.
Those pesky twins won't go away. It sounds like Scooby-Doo. If it wasn't for those pesky twins, I would have got away with it, but
it's funny. It's funny because all I get from this whole weekend is from Sox fans. Like, you guys got to beat the Twins for us, man. You got. I feel like the Godfather in the opening scene. Like, you come to me, on the day of my daughter's wedding, asking me for a Sox victory, and you haven't come up to me and say hello or call me Godfather. Like, see, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's how I feel with the Sox. But the Cubs just laid an egg. They should have won. They should have won another game in that series.
Right. They got shut out, buddy. That wasn't nice, man. We could at least score a run, but like I said, Minnesota's also playing for the division. You got to get them their props. You know, everybody's competing right now. That's what I like about this short season. You're seeing playoff baseball right now, probably pretty much every series, because you don't have time to take plays off. And as you can see yesterday with David Ross, he had to bench Cal Schwarber because the way he played the triple. You know, David Ross was like, hey, man, you know, we're getting closer to the promised land. We can't have that, you know. We can't have that. Even though it may have been kind of harsh, but he's sending the message to even the elite hitters on the team like, hey, this is our final season probably together. We need to get it together, and we can't be getting shut out like this, you know?
Well, listen, we're going to switch protocol. What I'm going to do is I'm going to bring our guy in. He's going to take the baton and the from you, Joseph, you know, so all three of us are going to be on. You see him on here. He's on here twice a week. He's from That's Davis Show. You can find him on Twitter at That's Davis. Guys, bring in our good friend, Kenneth Davis. Kenneth, what's up, Papa?
What's going on, guys? How y'all doing this morning?
I'm happy on a Bears Victory Monday, baby. I'm happy.
What's up, Joe?
I'm happy.
You're happy? You're happy?
I'm happy with the 2-0.
You're happy to be live? Okay, you're really happy about that? You're happy about that?
Wait, so you're asking me a specific question. Am I happy that the Bears are 2-0? Don't ask me or are you asking me, am I happy how they got to 2-0?
I'm talking about how. I'm talking about how they got
how they got there. No,
I'm
happy that we are 2-0 because we could be sitting here talking about all the things that they need to work on at 0-2. Then it's a whole other conversation. So I'm not giving those victories back because you know as well as I do, as all of us do, we easily could be 0-2.
It's cool that they're 2-0.
I'm happy that we're 2-0. Let me work on their problems from 2-0 looking down as opposed to 0-2 looking up at the division.
It's kind of, I'll use a relationship analogy. It's like if you ask me about like a woman, I'm like, oh yeah, she's cool. Like I'm not really validating and being like, you should be with her. But I'm like, yeah, if that's what you want to do you, basically. I mean, I feel like from the first game, which it led you to have a number of questions about the team, man, to be compounded with this game, I have even more questions. I mean, and we talked about this before, about that defensive window, right? Like, where's that? Like that, I mean, you now the question was, and we thought, you know, it was going to be Robert Quinn. I had Mark Grody on the show last week, and it's like, all right, so if Robert Quinn comes, we're supposed to be straight when it comes to this defense. Yeah, first series, we saw Robert Quinn pop. And I mean, listen, I understand that we miss Eddie Goldman, but there's a lot of questions when it comes to that defense. I mean, Daniel Jones was out there at points like a god. And I hate to say that because just imagine if Saquon Barkley was healthy that whole game. Like the fact that you had Lil Dion out there doing his dizzle and he hadn't scored a rushing touchdown in season. And he was out there doing his dizzle. If you had physically the most talented running back in the league playing in a get-back game, since he had such a bad game in that first initial game this season, I could see them losing that way. You should have put more pressure on Jones. It was just, and then the Mitch thing, and I know the Mitch is always low-hanging fruit, and it's like, yeah, if you talk Bears football, it's always, you know, saying what about the QB or whatever, and it's just like, yeah, we don't need to get into that. But like, when do we get into, like, we have another 2 games. I was thinking about this, where he has a Paul Konerko season, which is like you only play well half of the season. If he has another one of those as far as the half during the football game, you're going to have to do something because you have to score more points now. And I know Matt Nagy mentioned that they had to score more points, but it's no question because that defense isn't exactly the same defense. And you can't expect when you're facing Atlanta, who I know they lost in a game they should have had no business losing to Dallas yesterday. Still look at the numbers that they put up. Like Atlanta's going to do their damn thing against you, right? So how are you going to keep up with Atlanta when your defense isn't playing as well? Eddie Jackson, like, of course, yeah, you know, it was on the receiver for the offensive penalty, but he still interfered when he hit the receiver before the receiver got the ball. It was just that they had caused a penalty already. So there's just a lot of questions. And looking at it at the beginning of yesterday, the first half, I'm like, man, I'm feeling this. This is cool. And at the end of that game, I was like, I don't know what the hell is going on with this team right now. And it's early, but you're talking about two suck-ass teams when you're talking about the Lions and the Giants.
Here's what I'm not so Debbie Downer like you.
I lived a life.
I asked Mitch for one instead of one good quarter. He gave us one. He gave us actually a great quarter in week 1. He gave us a great quarter in the fourth quarter. I said, okay, give me 2 good quarters then. I don't need great. Just give me 2 good quarters this week. He did. Just they were both in the first half. Had one been in the first half and one been in the second half, it might be a different story. So now I'm asking Mitch, okay, I'm asking you for incremental improvements. You give me 3 good quarters now. We get 3 good quarters. I'm comfortable going into Hot Atlanta and take it and take it on the Falcons. I'm not saying I don't think we're gonna blow them out by any stretch, but I do think we could come out with a victory if Mitch gives us 3 quarters because we're running the ball. Allen Robinson's contract should be signed with this week, is what I'm hearing from Ian Rappaport. There's a good chance it'll be signed this weekend, so his mind will be completely focused on the game. So
he was fine. He was fine though during.
He needs to come down with a couple of those balls yesterday. That one interception, which was
hold on, wait, real quick.
When the DB was back to us, he comes down with that.
He said it was his contract. It was his contract now while Allen Robinson.
No. I'm just saying that he's. I don't know if he was there completely because he saw Tariq get paid the day before. Like, damn, dude, hold on, where's my money? Dude, I think he needs to get focused. He's a little. To me, he's sensitive.
I think
how did he get sensitive all of a sudden? How did he get sensitive all of a sudden?
No, just listen to his interview.
When you want to get paid, wait, real quick. So now we absolve him the fact that Mitch stares down his number 1 receiver all the damn time.
Nope.
All the time. Like there's times where he's throwing it, 3 guys around him, and we're lucky that Allen Robinson comes down with it when there's a lynch mob around him. But this is Allen Robinson because he's worried about getting paid, that now he's not focused. I think Allen Robinson had a good game. I even put some of that more still on Mitch because Mitch and the team should be using Allen Robinson as a decoy. At times, he should stare down Allen Robinson, but you know what he should do next? Throw it to someone else because now you have the safeties focused on the fact that you're staring down Allen Robinson. He uses Allen Robinson as his wet blanket too often. Now, I'll say this. Last year, I'm cool with it. You got Jimmy Graham now. Like, you got Darnell Mooney. You got guys. Now, Anthony Miller let him down. I'll give him that much. Anthony Miller did, even though those passes are difficult to catch, and that receiver in the end zone went past his face, he still should have came down with that. I'll give Mitchell that. But when it comes to Allen Robinson, 1, he's gonna get his butt hurt, but 2, he stares him down, and we see it all the time. It's hike. Where's A-Rob at?
Right. Can I add this in before we go to break or anything like that? I just want to say this. I noticed that Mr. Trubisky completed passes to 9 different players yesterday in the beginning of the game. Did you guys notice that? He threw it to 9 different players consistently, But the thing is that by him mixing it up like that, they couldn't lock in on one guy. I think that game plan changed in the second half. Like you said, he was starting to stare down his receivers. But the thing that saved us yesterday was that we were starting to go to the running game, and it kind of like neutralized all of that. It covered up a little bit of his mistakes, but that running game really was pleasing to the eye. It was aesthetically pleasing to the eye, especially when it comes to the offensive line play.
And look, let me jump on that real quick, Joseph. That's another issue right there. So then we start with David Montgomery with the silly jump. I don't know who he's hurdling when a guy is I almost hurt him. And it's like David Montgomery goes out with, listen, I'm Superman. I'm just going to do what I do. All right, it's a guy that's halfway down. I'm about to hurdle him. Listen, I love his effort. But when you saw how when he got hurt, how it changed that running game. And yeah, we can sit there and I talked about the nuances with Cordero Patterson before. His habit is I'm gonna bounce this bad boy outside when he has that speed. And sometimes, listen, you may encounter that guy that's in the hole, but sometimes you may outrun that guy. What are you gonna do if and when? Let me say that David Montgomery gets hurt, and now you're exposing Tarico and the Cordero Patterson as being guys necessarily that you don't necessarily use between the tackles. I'm with you, Joseph. I love what they've been doing with the running game, but they need another runner. We saw when Nall got out there with that pass in the flat that's like, no, this isn't necessarily going to work. But I'm with you. I enjoy the fact that they're sticking to the run. And I'll say this much, a positive about that game, they're trying to win ugly. And in the past, Matt Nagy wouldn't have necessarily done that.
We got to take a quick break. Hey, Joseph, thank you, Papa. We appreciate it. We will see you on Wednesday.
Later,
all right?
All right, God.
You too, bro.
All right.
You don't cut that man off while he blessing us, Ivan.
I'm sorry. It was a mistake.
That man is giving us blessings.
He said God bless, and I was like, oh, I'm an idiot.
You're going to burn in hell for that, dude. What's wrong with you? Jesus. All right, we got to take a quick break. And on the other side of the break, we got our guy, Luis Medina, coming in. We're going to have a little Bears talk. Actually, get a little Cubs talk because, Luis is very versatile. And not only does he cover the Bears for Bleacher Nation, but he also is he was on the Cubs postgame Beyond the Ivy last year. So we're going to get and that's his favorite team. He's a Cub dude. So we're going to get some Cub talk in with we're going to do some double duty. Luis Double Duty Medina over here coming up next. So don't go anywhere. Keep it locked right here. Shawn and Maya in the morning on SportsZone Chicago. Welcome back to Shawn and Maya in the morning on SportsZone Chicago. Happy house music.
Remix.
That worked for me. That was good right there. That was good. Watch. Go ahead.
But no, that was it was funny to me because I knew exactly what happened.
Said remix.
Oh man, but while Shawn gets back together, let's go ahead and bring on our guest for you, Luis Medina from Bleacher Nation. Luis, what's up, bro?
Morning, guys. How are you?
We're good.
Yeah.
We're good. So how about those Bears yesterday, man?
How about those 2-0 Bears, man? Winning ugly, man. I'll take it. If you'd have told me back in March that the Bears are going to start out 2-0, I'd have been like, I will accept this, and I don't care how it happened. Now, as I watch it, I'm just like, I don't know if I should feel that way, but you should never apologize for being 2-0. That's just like my feel this morning.
Yeah, you're right. You're right, Lewis. You shouldn't apologize for being 2-0. But like, for instance, the first game with the Lions, I think, left me with questions. And this game kind of validated some of those questions with the defense necessarily not playing up to snuff as I felt against a second-year QB who didn't have his best weapon. So when you look at the defense, what are some of the issues that you're seeing, and what do you think they can remedy outside of course, Eddie Goldman opting back in, and we know that that's not going to take place?
So the Bears, I mean, I feel like the first two games brought out all sorts of different questions about this team, especially the defense. Yardage and yards per play wise, like they weren't bad yesterday. The Giants only gained 290 something yards. It's just the 3-for-3 fourth down conversions were literal daggers. I felt pain in my stomach watching those fourth down conversions. And then watching these plays over the middle where Evan Ingram and Deion Lewis, like these guys should not be getting chunk plays over the middle. And I guess one of my big issues right now is Danny Trevathan is looking a step slow. And I love the fire and the intensity and the passion and the intangibles Danny T brings to this team. But watching him in coverage the first 2 weeks of the season has been painful. And I think the Bears see that because we saw a lot of Deion Bush yesterday. I haven't looked at the snap counts yet, but we saw a lot of Deion Bush yesterday. And with the Bears going 3 safeties, that's probably the move to counter some of these passing attacks over the middle. Because right now, Danny Trevathan can't stick with running backs or tight ends, and him on the field gives offensive coordinators the opportunity to try to isolate a receiver on him, and we know that's not going to end well.
Yeah, you know what? It was a little frustrating yesterday, and especially I think there's something wrong with Danny Trevathan. I don't know what it is, but you know he was coming up. He was covering DeAndre Swift last week when he gave us that gift, decided to drop the ball in the end zone. He just looked out of sorts. He still looks slow. So there's got to be something going on with Danny Trevathan. I don't know what it is. But man, there's something, man. And I don't know. But let's talk about that defense. And so that's where you guys had started. Give me your thoughts on Robert Quinn. You know, first play, I told Ivan, he looked like a grown-ass Mickey Ficky man coming off that corner, dude. And I tinkled a little bit. I was like, oh my God, like they're going to have like 5 or 6 court meetings at the quarterback every game this year. I'm like, oh my goodness. All right. And so talk to me about him, because he wasn't that much of a factor after that, just that first play. Talk to me about him. Is it just they figured him out? He's not in football shape. He's still coming off an injury. Why do you think he wasn't that much of an issue after that? Because he only had that one tackle, that one play.
Yeah, I don't want to say he disappeared. I thought the Giants did a good job kind of containing the Bears pass rush at times. They also were really quick getting the football out, which is why I was frustrated with some of the plays over the middle. Like, you know where they're going with the ball. If they have to contain the outside, they have to go quick over the middle. Everything kind of just works together on this defense. If the outside is rushing, then and that's where you miss Eddie Goldman. Is you don't have that guy to collapse. I like Bilal Nichols, but they really need someone who can collapse the center of that pocket and just eat up some space and kind of chew up some blockers. As for Quinn specifically, I don't know if it's football shape. I don't know if it's playing shape. I don't know if it's how often he was on the field, because I know he didn't get on his first play until that first third down. So, I mean, I like what we saw early. I'd like to see more of it. Like, you're right, 4 or 5 times a game, those guys should be at the quarterback's feet. So I hope this is the beginning of a beautiful tag team, because I think it's got so much potential.
Guys, we're joined by Luis Medina from Bleacher Nation, talking a little Bears football right here. Get me fired up over here. I'm loving it right here on Shawn and Maya in the morning on SportsZone Chicago.
Lewis, listen, I want to stick with the defense still. And I feel like against Matthew Stafford, I understand why a defensive coordinator who at times has been deemed as someone who is blitz crazy or blitz happy didn't necessarily use the blitz because a veteran like Matthew Stafford can pick you apart. Even though we know early in his career he was injury prone, he's been the second best quarterback in this division for over a decade. But when you look at young Daniel Jones, and I don't think by any means he's a scrub, he definitely has poise, to say the least, but he didn't have Saquon Barkley. And then you look at Shepard, with Sterling Shepard also going out. It seems like Chuck Pagano should have took advantage and tried to put him on his butt when he saw that the edge rushers weren't necessarily getting to him. What do you think about Chuck Pagano and how he called the defense yesterday?
I have a lot of mixed feelings about that game calling and Pagano, because part of me was that you're up 17-0. You shouldn't have to throw the kitchen sink at second-year Daniel Jones. Like, your base defense should be able to contain him with that front four, with your cornerback. Your cornerbacks played pretty well for the most part, but there were times yesterday, like, I would have loved to see, I don't know, maybe a Buster Screen blitz. Maybe I don't want to see Khalil Mack in coverage. I saw that like once too many times yesterday, and I get it. Like, these guys can do everything, and you want to throw something on tape for later. Man, I just want to get away with this win. Like, the Bears should have won that game 28-0 or something. 23, something like that. Our conversation today should be something totally different, but it's not because of how the game was called. And sometimes, and I thought about this last year, and I wondered if it was going to come in play yesterday, and it kind of did. And I wonder if Chuck Pagano calls his defense kind of afraid of the offense, of the Bears offense, because in that second half, that Bears offense wasn't moving the ball. And when the offense isn't moving, defensive coordinators tend to get conservative because they don't want to put their defense in a place where they give up a big play and then the offense has to come back and counter that. Because if you have little faith in your offense, you're not going to defensively take a bunch of risks. So I wonder how that kind of works. And it's why this is going to be a challenge for Matt Nagy. He has to, as an offensive guy, bridge the gap and cross the aisle and reach out to his defensive coordinator and kind of work in conjunction with him, knowing what his offense can and cannot do. And that's going to be a challenge.
I love it. Thank you, Lewis. Thank you, because that's what I was telling Ivan. I was like, man, I'm telling you, and the reason I say that is because as a defensive coordinator for a while, like, I knew that certain games my offense didn't have it, okay, or someone was hurt, or we lost our starting quarterback, and that threw a big monkey wrench in our whole offense. Like, okay, I can't get as aggressive as I want to get, and I think that's the same thing, and I agree with you, and hopefully that's it, and hopefully it's not him just not laying an egg, but I personally, I would say I would love a lot more pressure from Chuck Pagano. Man, give me something, because that's your calling card. That's what you've hung your hat on for your entire career. Why now? So I hope Matt Nagy gives him a little more leeway to do that, and that he takes it, because man, we got the horses, we got the thoroughbreds, we got it. So, talk to me about that.
Real quick, let me ask you both this real quick. It just was something that you just said. But what about helping the offense by scoring on defense like you did 2 years ago? Like, if the offense necessarily, and you know that this offense may not score enough, then you need to get turnovers, one, to either give the ball back to the offense or at least try to score on defense like you did with this style of defense.
Well, the referees took away a pick six from Eddie Jackson. I don't know if you guys saw his comments yesterday after the game. He said the ref said, "My bad," that he missed that call. And just like, yeah, well, this ain't baseball where you can have an official score, be like, oh, erase that. That's not an earned run. That's an unearned run now. And, there's none of that in football. So, I mean, again, that's another touchdown that the Bears should have won that game easily. That should be 24-13 and 10-point win, 11-point win is easy talking the next day. But now we're having questions like, can this defense score? Like, we saw that they can. Stupid referees didn't get in the way.
You know what? And here's what I was telling Ivan too. We have to expect this, because there was no OTAs, and guess what? Referees are at OTAs. Crews are at various OTAs throughout the league. All right, the training camp, no preseason. All right, so they're missing out on 4 weeks of preseason games. No inter squad scrimmages. Between teams, units are there, so they're rusty, just like the players are rusty, and we have to remember that. I'm not giving them a pass, but we have to remember that, and that's a very legitimate point. And, that was, I'm telling you, I was at my buddy's, and I'll put not the Wrigleyville one, the original one last, and I'm telling you, the whole place, I was cursing like a drunk sailor, dude. I was so mad. I was sending the ref to the nice warm spot down below. I was so mad because we were jumping up and we saw that flag. But we got it. But I do agree with you. We are taking the ball away. I want to see a little more of a ripping of the ball when we're holding somebody up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I want to see that. That because that's a nice, easy way. Because sometimes people don't necessarily secure it properly. There's just some small things that I think I'd like to see this defense work on to try and get the ball out a little more. Just get it on the floor. And even if you don't recover it, man, you talk about a scare that puts in people. You talk about a scare that puts in future opponents. Mm-hmm. That's what I need to see more, a little more aggressiveness on the small things in trying to get the ball out. Because if they can get that ball out, them jokers are trying to score. That's the one thing I love about that defense. They are trying to take it. They're not. They know who's running that offense. They're like, it's ourselves. Let's do it ourselves.
Yeah, I want to see it, but I do want to see it, but not at the expense of tackling. We saw some really sloppy tackling in the first game. It kind of showed up a little bit yesterday, but sometimes teams can get really, they try to do that peanut punch. They don't wrap a guy up, and then he gets 2-3 more yards than he should. I don't want to see that. I do want to see some more turnovers, though.
Well, let's go to the other side of the ball. Talk to me about this offensive line. 135 yards yesterday, 149, damn near 150 yards week one. What are you liking about this? Because you have to be liking his offensive line. The fact that we committed to the run yesterday 32 times. Kenneth, what I tell you? You give me 30 rushes? 30 rushes? I'm happy to pig and slop, and you saw them starting to wear the team down. Talk to me about that offensive line, Lewis.
Man, that offensive line, I don't know what Juan Castillo got into those boys, but it's night and day. And I don't believe it's just because Kyle Long is not in there or because Rashad Coward isn't in there. Jermaine Ifedi had a really bad penalty yesterday, but then he had like a really good block like the next play. So just the group looks more aggressive. We're seeing obviously more running. And look, if there's one way to get an offensive line started, it's by running the football and doing it effectively and doing it often. Like doing it a couple plays and then abandoning it doesn't instill confidence in offensive line, doesn't build up that lather. Those guys need that lather. I love that the Bears have come off the bus running the last 2 games, and they've looked good doing it. The switch between Daniels and Whitehair going back to their old positions, Whitehair's back at center, Daniels back at left guard, that seems to work. I understand why they made the switch last year because, those guys wanted to get back to their old positions, their original positions. But sometimes things just work and you stick with it. I think that was one of the big takeaways from last year. And looking at this team this year, if you looked at yesterday's game, a lot of their best runs came center left. So we're talking Whitehair, Daniels, Leno. And that, I think, is probably the most encouraging thing to me is those 3 kind of had a rough year last year. We all know the right side was an issue with Long being injured and using a nose tackle at right guard. But those 3 guys on the left side, center and left, people thought I was crazy when I said the offensive line isn't as big of a problem as projected because in 2018, that group was really good. And it's the same group. None of them aged really poorly. They all just got off to really bad starts. Now, this year, it's a lot different. If you give me one more week of this from the Bears offensive line, I think we'll be having this conversation later. Like, yeah, we were ahead of the curve on this offensive line being not bad and probably a top 15, top 16 group, at least top half of the league. And that's what you need to have a good offense.
Listen, sticking with the offense, and I hate to go to the low-hanging fruit, but when you're taking on teams like Detroit who didn't have Galladay out there at the time, and then you look at the fact that Sterling Shepard and Saquon Barkley were gone. I thought earlier in this season and looking at Mitch's game that, it's too early to start wondering when you're going to pull the plug. But when you're playing with halves and when you start to play these teams, like we haven't even played the teams in our division that can score, even though Minnesota hasn't looked the same as last year, but you look at Green Bay, when you look at Atlanta, When do we have to start looking at Mitch and saying, you know what, Mitch, that little bit of a half isn't good enough, especially when this defense isn't playing up to snuff. We need to score 20-some-odd points regularly. Like, it's getting to the point now that the Bears basically need to score about 20, 23 points before you feel comfortable with this defense. It's kind of playing in a bend and don't break kind of defense compared to how they played in the past. So when you start looking at Mitch as far as, you know what, you're playing decent, but you're not playing well enough for the entirety of the game, and we need more scoring out of that position.
I'll be honest, I started looking at that at halftime of week 1. I mean, Mitch was awful in the first half of week 1. And I'm just like, man, you can't – and the Bears had only given up, 6 points? Like, you can't waste this defense on a guy who's just – he was like 8 of 20 in the first half. Now, what's crazy is that second half of that Lions game and the first half of the Giants game, pretty good. He still needs to put it in 4 consecutive quarters, put it together 4 consecutive quarters in one game. We're in year 4. And I'm at a point where, like, you got to poop or get off the pot, my dude, because this window with this defense – and really, some of these skill position players, Allen Robinson in his prime, David Montgomery in his prime, Jimmy Graham, not in his prime, but looking useful.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you got useful pieces here. Darnell Mooney looks like a dude on the rise. You got useful pieces. You can be a middling quarterback. A middling quarterback would be an upgrade from what we've seen. We've just seen inconsistent, and at some point that's going to bite the Bears in the butt. And if it happens in a loss, I think you have to have that honest conversation about Mitchell's future.
Yeah, Mitchell's future, I don't think it's very bright here. But here's what I told Ken. I also told Ivan. I said, so after last week, he gave us one great quarter last week. Okay. And, I'm thankful for it. We won. Perfect. I'm like, okay, Mitch, give me 2 good quarters. Not great, not phenomenal. Give me 2 good quarters. So he does. But they're both in the first half. Now, if one of those quarters is in the second half, it might be a different conversation. So now I'm asking, give me 3 good quarters. Okay? Give me 3 good quarters, because at that point, then one of them's got to be in the second half. Okay? That we know. I don't know a lot, but I know one of them's going to have to be in the second half. And if we can get a good quarter out of Mitch in the second half, especially after with this defense, knowing that they're going to get 1 good quarter out of Mitch in the second half, I think we're going to be better. I mean, I'm not asking for 4 good quarters. That's, now we're starting to get into above average quarterbacks now, above average quarterback play. Okay. But if he can give me 3 good quarters, I'm okay with the rise, because just what I said about the officials and everybody, them not having practice. Same with Mitch. Same the timing. I know he's got the scheme down. Well, should have the scheme down.
I hope so.
It's only year 3, but he doesn't have the chemistry with, even though he was working out, it's not game speed. All right. I want to see him get more and more comfortable. I give him a little more leash than a lot of other people do. Okay. That's fine. Some people, have, they got him on a choker. All right.
Yeah.
I give him a little more because people develop differently. All right. He didn't ask to be the number 2 pick overall. It's not his fault. He's limited in what he's doing. They're not helping him. But I digress. Give me 3 good quarters, and I will be more than happy with this week, especially if they're in the second half. 2 of them. But give me 3 good quarters, and I'm good with this team going into Atlanta.
Yeah, sure. I hate that I have to temper my expectations for a guy who was the 2nd overall pick, and not just that. And people forget Mitchell Trubisky was a highly touted quarterback prospect coming into that draft. Reed Kuiper, Reed McShay, read all those guys. I did. And all those guys had Trubisky in the first round. A lot of them that made Alex Smith comparisons. And that's the Bears if you gave me healthy Alex Smith right now, I might push an old lady down the stairs to get at him. Maybe. I'd consider it.
I'm not too far off, Lewis. I'm not too far off with a healthy Alex Smith. I ain't gonna bull jive you. That joke could get it done.
I don't know. I feel like for some reason you got a little bit of Mitch love too much up in your big super back. What we haven't talked about is, and you always like to put it on Matt Nagy, is him necessarily using his legs. Now, of course, they did have some scripted runs yesterday, But like I said before, I don't think they told him you can never run whatsoever if the play breaks down. And to accentuate his assets again, as far as being the quarterback that's mobile, because that was one of the best things in 2018. That's why I liked him more than Jared Goff at that time, because I'm like, listen, neither one can win from the pocket, but Mitch can at least take off. So, Lewis, what were your thoughts as far as them using Mitch, and also Mitch himself starting to look to take off and run to try to move the chains instead of just trying to depend on his arm?
I kind of low-key love that QB power run. I texted one of my buddies who's a big NIU fan, an NIU graduate. I'm like, oh, man, they used that Jordan Lynch QB power twice yesterday. I'm like, look at Matt Nagy, take it from the college game. I think there were times last year where I think Mitchell was told, hey, try to make plays from the pocket. And sometimes he takes things too literally and just kind of forgets that he has legs that are very usable. But sometimes he used his mobility yesterday on that pass, on the touchdown pass to Montgomery. It was brilliant. He made the defense vulnerable because they were like, well, do I stop Mitch from running or do I stop, David Montgomery? Montgomery leaks out, makes that catch, and scores a touchdown. And then there was another play where Mitch used his legs to kind of,
Mooney.
Yeah, on the Mooney play to get out of the pocket. And the most important part though, kept his eyes downfield, directed traffic. We need to see more of that because that's what separates that middle tier of quarterbacks and gets you into that tier of quarterbacks that you can kind of trust, because you trust those guys because you trust them to make plays when things aren't there. And that's the difference really between him and Nick Foles. Nick Foles doesn't have that mobility, and he has the processing. I swear, if you could combine like Frankenstein style Mitch Trubisky and Nick Foles, the Bears would be Super Bowl favorites.
Guys, we're joined by Louis Medina from Bleacher Nation, talking a little Chicago Bears football right here on Shawn and Maya in the morning on SportsZone Chicago. What are your thoughts on Matt Nagy's play calling? I've been a very harsh critic of Matt Nagy. I'm not a big fan of his play calling by any stretch. But give me your thoughts of his play calling, because in the first half they seemed to be moving. They had a nice tempo. They had a nice rhythm. Mitch was comfortable. Mitch was confident. In the second half, it seemed to stall. And I don't think they signed the 86 Giants at halftime. So I know Lawrence Taylor's an alum and he'll probably be the greatest player ever, but he wasn't on that field yesterday, and they just stopped performing and being potent. How much of that was Matt Nagy? How much of that was just the players not executing?
At first blush yesterday, I thought it was a lack of execution, because if you look at their possessions, interception, Anthony Miller has a drop. And those three drives were kind of cooking. So if you I don't know, the first interception was kind of fluky. It happens. That second one, didn't like that decision at all. Basically, unless you're Aaron Rodgers, I don't want you throwing a back shoulder fade. Mahomes can throw it too, but I think Aaron Rodgers is the best ever at throwing back shoulder fades. Allen Robinson's a great receiver, and he had that ball. That's such a low percentage throw. I don't trust Trubisky enough to throw a low percentage throw when there's a guy coming across the middle that you can easily hit, and that converted that third down. It's a first down, keep the chains moving. So really, I don't want to blame too much on Mitch, because he played all right in that first half, and the guy just gets drilled at every corner. But just a little bit better decision making. And Anthony Miller did him no favors. Anthony Miller had two big drops yesterday, and Miller makes some great plays. So you kind of live with his drops sometimes. But man, just one should have been a touchdown. The other
opening drive
version. You got to make those happen. People thought there was a consensus building on Twitter yesterday, and I was running the BN Bears account, that Matt Nagy got conservative. I'm just like two of the last three drives ended in an interception, and the other one was the drop. I'm like, it's not really him kind of falling back. It's just the execution. And I always wonder how that affects a play caller. If your plays aren't being executed, how do you answer? Do you go back to running the ball? I love the way that they went back to running the ball, man. Someone brought it up in the comments. On 1st and 25, they gained 23 yards. Just, whew.
Yeah. That way Matt Nagy is what he's trying to tell you, Shawn.
Okay. I'll take that.
Put it on your quarterback. Put it on your damn quarterback. Your soldier.
I don't know who Sean Sarah is, who that is, Ivan. Ivan needs to go back to school and learn how to spell my name because it's only in Sierra Mist and the Sierra Mountains, but that's all right. Hey, Lewis, great stuff. Let's talk a little Cubs. I know you're a big time Cub fan, Papa, and 2 out of 3 for the Twins. Give me your thoughts. How you feeling? How you feeling going into the playoffs? You got one guy who's really on fire, and that's Ian Happ for the most of the season. Your big guns. You're talking Contreras, Bryant, Rizzo, Schwarber. They're not really going. You're still in first place. Talk to me about how you're feeling that this season is shaping out heading into the playoffs.
The Cubs should be happy the Bears won yesterday because losing 2 or 3 from the Twins the way that they did, they scored 2 runs in 27 innings. That's no good for nobody. Kyle Schwarber got pulled because he goofed on trying to catch a fly ball yesterday, and then he took his fielding error into his at bats. It's just a mess. Javi's a mess at the plate. Ian Happ has been good for most of the year, but he's been slumping recently. The bullpen had some injuries over the weekend. Rowan Wick is down. They still haven't called up Braylon Marquez, who's their flame-throwing lefty. And at this point, they still haven't clinched the playoff spot. They've got the same record as the Yankees, and yet have not clinched the playoff spot. I don't know what's happening in the AL. I mean, other than the Astros being deliciously bad. And still somehow in the playoffs because of the weird structure of this playoff system. But, the Cubs got to get healthy against the Pirates, and then it's the White Sox weekend. The White Sox did the Cubs no favors by not taking 2 out of 3 from the Indians.
It is. Go ahead, Ken.
Lewis, let me ask you this. Listen, what about the shakeup with David Ross is necessarily moving guys in the lineup, finally moving Javi down and moving Chris Bryant? What are your thoughts about the shakeup and how long it's necessarily going to last? Is this what we're going to do going into necessarily the playoffs, or is he just tinkering with right now to find out what he has going?
Unless those guys get hot, they're not moving up in the lineup. And I don't think Chris Bryant's moving any further down in the lineup. I just think this has been such a weird year for him. He's got the grievance in the offseason. He had a kid. He had injuries early in the season. He's got a contract issue, an extension that isn't here for him that he probably wants. And he's not performing the way that we're used to and that we expect. I think it would be risky to move him down in the lineup anymore. It's just like you don't know what's the breaking point for a guy. And that's for a lot of guys this year. It's been such a weird year. I mean, look, Jason Hayward is a star this year, offensively and defensively.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I want to move him up in the lineup because it feels like he's got the perfect spot now. I remember I'm going to name drop it. I hate doing this, but I like doing this. I talked with Frank Thomas last year when we did Outside the Ivy, and I asked him, does it matter where a guy is in the lineup? And he made a comment some guys can bat anywhere in the lineup, but some guys hit a certain spot, and maybe it's because you see a pitcher in the first inning. Let's say, Hayward's example is he's 6. You see the pitcher in the first inning, you see how your teammates react, and you go into your first plate appearance knowing what a guy has and what he doesn't, how guys are reacting to him, and you got a much better plan of attack than when you're going up leadoff man, fresh out the gate. So I always think about that when I think of lineup construction. Just some guys have it in certain spots, and I think right now Hayward, there's a case for him to go up in the lineup, but knowing his history and knowing how baseball players can be creatures of habit, I kind of just want to stick him where he is right now and let it ride.
Man, gentlemen, ladies, that is Luis Medina. Great stuff, Papa. He covers the Bears and the Cubs. Let everyone know where they can find you and your work online.
All right, you can find me on Twitter at LCM1986 and at BNBears, BleacherNation.com/Bears. Talking Toros, we did a Bulls podcast the other day for the first time and God knows how long because the Bulls got new coaches and GMs on the way. It's wild. It's a wild time in Chicago sports.
Real quick, who's your favorite to be the Bulls head coach?
Man, I kind of want Billy Donovan, but I think it's gonna be Wes Unseld Jr. I think the Bulls are gonna go straight young, new, fresh face, new eyes, new blood. It's gonna be some fresh stuff over on the West Side.
On West Side, hanging with Snoop and then West Side. Hey, Lewis, great stuff, Papa. Good to have you on, man. We'll be in touch soon.
Yes, sir. Take care.
All right, now, guys, Lewis Medina from Bleacher Nation, talking Bears and Cubs, double duty. He wants me to get off Nagy's play calling. All right.
Yeah, you need to. You know, like you're defending somebody. I don't know. Like now, I start to get the angle here around this Shawn and Maya stuff. You keep defending one in particular person, and it's never necessarily his fault. The second half.
Here's why. Because I don't anticipate Mitch being a MVP in the league by any stretch. All right, I don't. Okay, but the thing is, I want Mitch to be the best that he can be, and it's not going to be in the tier of Mahomes and maybe even Watson okay. I think it's a tier lower than that. He's probably he can be his best. The best Mitch that we can get is middle of that second tier of quarterbacks. And right now he's not playing to that level of middle tier of the second tier quarterbacks. He's playing in the middle of the pack. And that's not good enough. So part of it's on him. A big part of it's on him, but also a big part of it is on Nagy. Okay, because play calling.
You're the person, gentlemen. First of all, you're right by your name. It says the super back. Let me let you know. I haven't got that part correct, right? A friend of mine, Shawn Sierra, for at least I remember the first time I was at the office 2 years ago, and you brought me on here. I remember stepping into a little cubicle room to talk to you. And one thing we talked about was our love of running the ball. Shawn, all summer, 30 carries, 30. You get off the bus, 30. Matt Nagy has given the superback what he has desired consistently
in 2 games.
Right? He's been giving you, so now it's still where he's giving you what he wants, but this young kid can't consistently give us another half, or listen, let's put it like this, not even the halves, just times during the half where he can get it. So he can still be flat occasionally, but he can still, the rising tides raise ships, he can still just knock that play down. The Anthony Miller thing, I said it before Lewis came on, that's facts. Anthony Miller should have caught that ball. You know, regardless of the DB getting in the way, you're a professional, your hands were on it, you should have caught that ball. It was a terrifically thrown pass by Mitch. All right, so I'm not just beating Mitch. But when we look at the fact that last year it was Nagy trying to prove, look at me, I'm this coach, and this kid can't get it done, and he wasn't helping this kid as much. This year is, I'm helping this kid, and I'm trying to win any way possible, but this kid still isn't necessarily getting good. Dog, that was Daniel Jones out there with nobody but himself and Evan, right? Like, listen, I saw a little bit of Deion Lewis with the Titans. I won fantasy with him about 4 years ago with the Patriots, and Deion Lewis was doing his dizzle out there, and you're talking about and I know this is the defense, but Mitch couldn't even raise up to that standard as far as just being poised. Because one thing you can say anything about Daniel Jones, and I like to call him Dave Brown if you can go back to the old Giants quarterback from 30 years ago. That's what I thought he was, and I was wrong. He's better than that. But still, Mitch just can't even just stay poised, and I have to put that on him. He's in his third year in this system, but fourth year, and he's still staring guys down. Mm-hmm. And like Lewis said, dude, it's too many weapons. Look, we don't know how good Cole Kmet can be right now, but we know he's decent. We know Jimmy Graham is good compared to what we thought we were getting when he was playing with Green Bay. Jimmy Graham is good. Now, if I'll say you like this, if you didn't have Jimmy Graham and the question was, well, who's the number 2 receiver? And this is before we knew that Darnell Mooney could actually be good. I'm not saying by any means he's a number 2 receiver, even though Wims had a really good game yesterday. But the room as far as the receivers is playing well. But now you actually have a Hall of Famer at your tight end, as your you guy. Dog, you got options out here, man. Like, go, come on now, Mitch. Go open your eyes up. Take the blinders off. I know, listen, Allen Robinson, he is a blanket that you can enjoy, but you have too many weapons now that just necessarily depend on A-Rob all the time.
I have never and will never say that, it's all Nagy's fault. I will never absolve Mitch from the things he needs to do. He needs to grow as a quarterback, as a passer. He's got to make better decisions. All these things he's got to do. Okay. But as a coach, you still have to help him do that. Okay. And again, don't forget, people develop differently. Mitch didn't deserve to be the second overall pick. He didn't have that talent. I know a lot of quarterback or draft gurus had him there, and they were wrong. Okay. They were wrong. And he develops differently. And the best way to get it out of him is for him. Yes. And believe me, in these 2 games that we've had Matt Nagy has given me what I wanted. I don't think we hit 30 week 1, but we were like 27, 28 in week 1 and 32 yesterday. I'm happy as a pig in slop in that. Okay, but now that's one half of helping Mitch. Now the other half of helping Mitch is do what you do, get him in moving pockets, get him on the roll, on the run, bootlegs. Like I was really pissed yesterday on 3rd and 1. You've been running the ball. You've been just eating them up on this freaking inside zone. Why not fake it and have Mitch roll out naked bootleg by himself, 3rd and 1, and Mitch can outrun someone to the pylon, especially when it's to the wide side of the field. Play calls like that are what bother me, okay? Because what does that do for Mitch? That gives him confidence, all right? That gives him confidence, and that gets him fired up where he's able to now – it seems like Mitch, for him to be – if he does that and he gains that confidence either running the ball or a couple of short – quick passes that get him going, man, he can be at that level. But when you don't get him comfortable and confident early, I don't know. And especially that, like, what better way of, how many quarterbacks do you know love a 3rd and 1? They get the first down, spike it, and tear it out. You know what I mean? And at a key point in the game. And Mitch needs that. He's got, and I understand where Mitch is a different character, and he needs to be coached a different way. Not necessarily the way I'd like to coach players, but I've had to coach players like that. I don't like it because I'm more of a, listen, you're playing a man's game, but you also have to understand the ego and the personality you're dealing with. And if you crush that personality or then you know what? Then you're like, okay. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying there's too many soft athletes and you have to coach differently nowadays than you did in the past. And that, to me, that irks me. It's like nails on a chalkboard, but to get the best out of your players, certain players, you got to coach them the way they need to be coached.
Go ahead, Ivan, before I jump in this.
All right, I was just saying, like, I'm not going to go ahead and cater to that anymore. Like, Mitch has to get it done. I'm not going to say you got to be nice to Mitch. I'm not going to say we got to, ease him in. If he ain't doing the job, pull his ass. It's time. So I hear what you're saying. Guys need to be coached a certain way, but it's been 4 years. I don't want to hear that anymore. I just think that Mitch, he's just, like I said, he's just inconsistent. It's inconsistent all the way around. He's not, he flashes in the first half. We score 17 points. The lack of execution in the second, although I feel like 2 passes changed the way we look at that at Mitch's game. Another touchdown grab by Anthony Miller, and the catch that was in Allen's hands that ended up getting picked off by, Shawn said it was a great play by the cornerback. The cornerback made a great play, but it should have been caught. I think we look at it a lot differently, at least this game. But like I said, it's still too inconsistent.
I'll agree with that. But even with this as a professional quarterback, those things happen and you still have to pick yourself up and go out there and score some more. Now I'll say this, because this is the problem with Mitch, really. Alex Smith, which was brought up by Lewis. Alex Smith had a different coordinator almost every year for the first 4 or 5 years before John Harbaugh or Jim Harbaugh got there. You know what I'm saying? Look at and I'm not saying he's going to be good, but look at somebody like Baker Mayfield, you know what I'm saying, and how many different coordinators. Mitch has had the same guy calling plays for 3 years. Mm-hmm. This situation where there's been turnover, the verbiage has changed, where there's been turnover with it doesn't matter who the coordinator is because Matt Nagy is the coordinator. So this is who he is. Now we can still say that sometimes Matt Nagy, particularly last year, wasn't necessarily always putting him in the best position because he wasn't running the ball. And if your quarterback is suspect, let me take that back. Even if your quarterback is good, the best thing you can do is run the ball. All right, because you're alleviating some of the attention off of them, but also you're setting the other team up for play action. And we basically know the league. Play action is like the pick and roll in the NBA. You know what I'm saying? Like that's kind of the go-to move, especially if you don't have a premium quarterback. But it still falls on him being in this system for 3 years that you haven't necessarily mastered it. So yes, Anthony Miller should have caught that ball. That was that ball with A-Rob. That one that could have went either way. But still, he has to pick the team up. Like that's that's his job as far as being the guy that everyone is like, you know what, that's our guy. I always hate how quarterbacks are given the room because they're quarterbacks and they don't necessarily have to earn the room. And particularly with him, how everyone the last 3 years, like he's so confident he's the guy. And I'm like, I'm on the outside looking in, but he hasn't proven that he's the guy. And you hype this guy up and you tell them that because of this position, but he hasn't necessarily earned it. And this has been the first year that he's actually had competition in that room and he's playing better, but we shouldn't have had to bring in someone to get him to play to this level. He should have desired to get himself to this level necessarily.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I'll give him 2 more weeks. And at that point, I'll give him 2 more weeks because of the crazy circumstances that everybody's going off, because there's not one team in the league right now, especially one offense, unfortunately, except the one up north.
I was about to say, boy, that bad man Aaron Rodgers and Aaron Jones, don't say they're not playing out.
Except that are looking great. Even Patrick Mahomes isn't looking great.
Seattle too, though. Don't forget, man. Russell Wilson.
Yeah, they play out west, and I don't get to see them very often. Yeah. I don't get to see them very often. But yeah, Seattle. Russell Wilson has decided, I think I want to be an MVP candidate again this year. So
can I ask you something, Kenneth? Did you watch last night's game?
Yes.
Okay. The last play call, and I get why you do it, but I'm not doing that because everybody and their mama knows that's what you're doing.
Listen,
and
I'm sorry.
And then you got you got Cam who's rejuvenated. He looked better, but he's not old Cam. Like he's not gonna run over that linebacker, dog. Like he wasn't gonna do it. And on top of that, like I said, they knew what the play was. They blew it up from the jump.
Dude, this is the word. I'm gonna tell you this. And we're all in this industry. So like when the first thing I remember going to ICB or IMS, and I'm sure that Superback can say this, is you start to hear things and do things differently when you start to kind of get into this industry. So Chris Collinworth is sitting there talking and acting like this is so brand new. Like, you got a 270-pound quarterback right there. You got a like, dude, Cam has been doing this for a decade, right? Like this. And it's like it's brand new. Like going to what you're saying, Ivan, like we've never seen it stopped before. He's making it seem like this is some brand new stuff out here. And it was like you just said, when I'm watching it, I'm like, listen, unless you guys are going to try to do a quarterback sneak, you bet not try to have him kind of coming out. I don't care if it's left or right, because they're gonna be.
They have too much speed on that defense.
Yeah, so it was like that play call. Listen, I'll even say this, and it's not even going to make sense. If they were further away, I would better because you would have had them spread out more. But right there on the goal line, it was like, so you quitting? Like, it was just like, I get you got a new toy, but no, dude, that definitely wasn't the play. And the thing was, too, you were getting so much off of that action of the threat of him running. It was similar to Mitch when Mitch was sitting there and he started running to the edge, and then that defender came and he just dropped it off right there to David Montgomery. The same thing, remember, happened to that fullback that Cam did. Dude, you should have run action similar to that.
Yes.
Thinking that against this team, like you just said, that was keyed up on him and that you kept running this play like that. To me, listen, I love Belichick. Don't get it twisted. He's the GOAT. All right. Now it was Josh McDaniels. That's probably was Josh McDaniels. And he flew back to Denver with Tim Tebow. And it's like, oh, so much Tebow up on this. But it was like, stop. Like that, listen, that play, especially for the fact that we never expect Cam in that situation to be able to bring a team back against a team that was scoring like Seattle was, and you basically wasted it, and you actually had him proficient in the passing game. They threw that game away. That was a terrible loss by New England because we wouldn't have expected you to beat that team in that fashion.
Mm-hmm.
The thing about it is, especially on those plays, the thing you always want to do is you always want to give options. All right, so if you move Cam out, then you better have someone coming across them. You have someone dragging, have a running back swinging, all right, and put options on people. We talked about Mitch Trubisky on that touchdown pass to David Montgomery where he was out of the pocket, and now there's a dude in limbo. It's one guy, and do I lean back on David Montgomery, or do I go get the quarterback? Well, instinct tells me I need to go get the quarterback. So he goes to quarterback, boop, there you go, and David Montgomery does the rest. Options. You got to give people options, especially when it's the game. Okay, it's not a 3rd and 1. It's not a 3rd and 1 from the 25 coming out. You know what I mean? It's goal line, and you need to score.
They
so
made
you need to give him options. So you need to have one guy run a corner. You have maybe a slot guy run just right across the goal line. You have that backside tight end drag it across. So you got 3 options going. And if I don't see one of them, or if I see an open lane, bump it. I don't even need to throw it. I can put my head down. If I see a little DB coming, or I can put my head down and go. So give him options. And the fact that he didn't have those options.
5 years ago, 6 years ago. Yeah, I'm taking that. I'll take that chance with Cam. Even on the goal line. Yeah, okay. But everybody and their mama knows it. You get in the goal line, you got a 250-pound quarterback that Chris Collinsworth's never seen in his life before.
I never seen this play a day in my life.
Can you remember his name? What's this guy's name again?
Ram Newton. All right. Who the heck? Like, come on, bro. But 5 years ago, yes, perfect. Like, I think that's a good play call. They scored a touchdown. You got, like you said, Shawn, perfectly. Give them options. A play action pass might have done them well.
Shawn, I will piggyback on what you just said. You know what I would have still had a TE coming over and maybe a receiver coming across on top. But you know what I would have ran in that backfield? The option. All right. I would have sat there and had Cam come waggling it. And if you came in on him, either I'm throwing it to one of the 2 guys in the end zone, or I'm going to pitch it to the damn running back, and hopefully he can get it on the outside. But I'm not going to be sitting there in between the tackles taking on this defense like this. with Cam, and they showed it. And I'm happy that we're seeing what they're doing with this new toy, and you proved the different options that you had. For you to go back to that, just it didn't make any sense. And I'm happy they did it early in the year, so perhaps they'll know not to do it later in the year. But I still feel like they wasted a chance at a victory against a really good Seattle team, particularly on offense.
You know, one of the things a play that came to my mind is just a zone read, and we would do that all the time when we were coaching. He just option the defensive end. You know, so you let the guy go. So what the tackle does, the tackle just bounces out, and defensive end slides in. Or if you can tell the defensive end's going out, then the tackle just slides up underneath him and out. And you look and the quarterback he'll read him. All right, and you give that ball, you put that ball in the belly of that running back, and he's going to crash down the defensive end because you can't let the guy, on the goal line run in the end zone. So he crashes down, you pull it. Now you got Cam on the outside with a tackle and options. Tackle and options. So, Josh, he's got to do a much better job of that, and don't get me wrong, because I know he's happy as a pig in slop with his new toy, and I get it because he didn't have this mobility type thing with that other guy he got. I forgot who the quarterback was.
Right.
He didn't have that, but now you can't let that take away from your plan. You know what I mean? Like you just say, okay, because he can move, I'm gonna run him out. No. Do what's the best. Stick within your plan. Just use his abilities to the best of his ability. And he used his ability to the worst of it. Like you don't want to do that. Like now you want to run, no options, no nothing, just because he can run. No, that was just a bad call. And it would have been great to see Cam go 2-0, and they had it. They had that team there. They had it ready to go. But that's a classic example of a coach not putting your player in a position to be successful. And classic example of that when a coach starts to think that he can outsmart everybody, or he is smarter than everybody, like Josh McDaniels does. Like, listen, you're not Belichick, okay? You've proven that in Denver. You're not Belichick. So use your players. Always have options for your players, regardless. Even if it's overkill and he has too many options, I'll take too many options over no options.
I think that defense is in trouble though, because 35 points, and it looked easy for us. It looked easy for the running game.
Yeah, but Russ is up here, dude. Russ is one of those quarterbacks.
But that running game ain't up here. That running game ain't really up here. I mean, they got a decent running back, but they were pretty much controlling the pace on offense. And Bill Belichick's defenses usually they start gaining momentum later in the year. They start building. They start getting better, more disciplined. But that was something I didn't like. I haven't seen them just get drubbed like that. Maybe the Chiefs a couple years ago, but
Ivan, all their opt-outs were on the defensive side. They had 6 defenders opt out.
That's right.
You're talking about particularly when it came to the passing game last year. They were the best defense last season, but passing wise, it was by far they were the best defense. You have 6 guys on. We got 1 guy opting out on our defense, and our defense isn't right. Six dudes that opted out over there. And you're talking about a GM / head coach where these players, he knows how to put them, he knows how to use them all like as Swiss Army knives in his system. So that's in another team, they may not be as good as they are, but I only need you to do A and B, right? And now, so you got all these guys you tinker with, and that they are perfect for your system, and 6 of them opt out. So Russ is a different type of beast, but we know that defense in New England isn't going to be right, and it's kind of reminding of talking about the Bears. And you saw it last night, though, how many points they got out of Cam in that offense, that they're going to have to depend on offense more. And another thing too, and I'm not taking a shot at Tom Brady because he doesn't have the legs that Cam has, but those weapons that weren't any good, quote unquote, last year and couldn't create any separation. You see with a stripped down playbook with Cam, they're getting more action out of those players that weren't necessarily as good or Brady didn't deem as good. But you see here with Cam, because Cam has his legs, so there's an extra threat. It's basically like an extra player on the field. It's opening up for those players who necessarily weren't deemed as being good skill players last season.
You know, it's and also what some teams do is, you know, back the old adage, you use the run instead of the pass. You run the ball. But you have other teams now, and it's very, very common now in the NFL to use the pass to set up the run. Mm-hmm. So, you know, that's another way that, you know, part of it, in addition to the over half their defense opting out. But when you're passing and you're getting chunks of yardage via the pass, well, man, we got to drop a joker back. We got to go to nickel. We got to, so we got one linebacker. We're taking people out, and now there's a lot more. It's a lot easier. Because especially as an offensive lineman, because the defensive lineman is going to get that quarterback. Oh, snap, here goes the running back. You know what I mean? There are so many times that happens, especially when you're a pass-first team, they hit you. So there's just a couple of different reasons why. But I like Cam. I'm liking him more and more. You know, as eccentric as he is. He reminds me of a Lenny Kravitz. I mean, just with a little more different style of swag.
A little bit of come together. I like how he says a little. I like how
Lenny Kravitz, just with a louder wardrobe. That's about it.
When you say that, I'm gonna tell you this. I do have. Let me be a curmudgeon real quick. All right. Shout out to Jason Pupper about to come on here after I jump out. Listen, I do have a problem with my quarterback if we're not winning, focusing on his hat wardrobe more than what's going on the field. And I'm amusing to think about what Belichick must have thought last week when Cam came in that fashionable yellow suit or whatever, with his ankles showing. I know it's high fashion, with his ankles all showing or whatever. Exactly. And I just couldn't think about when you just think, hey, respect the master. But when you just think about the fact that he's never dealt with someone like this and how strict we believe Belichick is to have somebody like Cam. As long as Cam is winning, I'm with all of that. You know what I'm saying? As Cam is winning, I'm with all that. But, dude, if you losing and you are really like, what am I wearing this week? I have an issue. I'm a budget when it comes to something like that.
No, I agree with you. It's like Rodman. Why do you think the Bulls let Rodman go to Vegas in the middle of the season? Because he was Rodman. Because you knew what you were getting. When you were coming back, that must get 20 rebounds a game. Playing defense and getting under people's skin. That's the only reason.
He's out sprinting the Indian run in practice. You know what I'm saying? He's out sprinting everybody tenfold in practice.
I know. So that's him. But I'm rooting for Cam, man. I really am. I really want him. I think it's a great story. I think it's he's one of the. He's that new guy, or he's the guy in the middle from the beginning of the black quarterbacks into the new generation. He's kind of that bridge.
He is. That's good. That's a good call. That's a good call right there. Yeah.
And especially with the MVP in his pocket, because let's not get it twisted. That dude he was the ish, man. His MVP season, he was the ish, man. There was nothing you could do. A 270-pound quarterback.
I've never seen it before. I've never in my life. He has a fullback right there. I've never seen it.
He can block for himself.
Oh man. Sometimes Collinsworth, man, I can't take it.
Oh man, I hear you. Hey, Kenneth, great stuff, Papa. Hey, we'll see you on Friday. We appreciate it. Let everybody know where they can find you and your show online.
All right, definitely follow me at That's Davis. The show is That Davis Show. You can find it anywhere podcasts are found. Also check out Flipping Friends. We kind of don't do sports with that one. I'm gonna stay, Jason. I hear you, Jason. Jason wants me to stay a little bit, you guys. I don't know if you see that while you're kicking me off. He has something he wants.
Oh, you're more than welcome.
All right. So I'll stay for Jason, but yeah, definitely follow That Davis Show and Flipping Friends. I hope we bring you a good sports information, but also a little bit of levity, trying to cheer your day up.
All right, on the other side of the break is going to be a three-man weave. Me, Kenneth Davis, and Jay Palmer on the other side. So don't go anywhere, folks. Keep it locked right here. Shawn and Maya in the morning on SportsZone Chicago.
BoomerNaturals.com presents the Sports Flash on 1330 and 95.9 The Zone.
Thinking about what to do. Resettles, now flips it into the end zone. Left side, up in the air, making a catch. Touchdown, Bears, Darnell Mooney.
Bears radio at the call, a 17-13 win over the Giants on Sunday. Mitchell Trubisky, 18 of 28 passing, 2 touchdowns, 190 yards. He was picked off twice. Chicago nearly coughed up a 17-point lead after the half, but able to hold on to improve to 2-0. Jose Barrios struck out 4 and held the Cubs to 4 hits over 6 innings as Minnesota shut out Chicago 4-0. The Cubs still with a 3.5 game lead atop the NL Central. The Reds with a 7-3 win over the White Sox. Mike Moustakas with a 2-run single. Cincinnati scored 5 times in the 4th en route to the win. Boomer Naturals, your source for 3-layer protective face masks. Breathable protection for adults and kids. Save 20% with promo code SPORTS at BoomerNaturals.com. Chuck Sanders, that's the Sports Flash, 1330 95.9 The Zone.
This week at Macy's, it's full on fall, and we're so ready for it with the latest trends for cool and crisp weather ahead. Chic black and white styles will be your go-to. Classic plaids feel bold and put together, and so many bright hues add that extra pop to any look. Plus, you won't want to miss new arrivals from your favorite brands like Inc., Calvin Klein, Tommy Hilfiger, and more. Now at Macy's. And Star Rewards members earn on every purchase except gift cards, services, and fees. More info at Macys.com/Star Rewards.
Cleanings, checkups, and cavities? Have Dr. Chang's dental practice at capacity.
Patient in room 1 is getting a root canal. The x-rays in room 2 are going to have to wait. We're down to 1 hygienist.
It's time to hire.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. The moment you sponsor a job on Indeed, you get a short list of quality candidates from our resume database. Indeed delivers 2.5 times more hires than the other branded job sites combined, according to Breezy HR 2019. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get a $75 credit for your first job post. Terms and conditions apply.
Welcome back to Shawn and Maya in the morning on SportsZone Chicago. Sitting in here with guest co-host Kenneth Davis. We're gonna bring our man in. What's up, Cuz? He is one of the co-hosts of What's Up, Cuz with his cousin Lance C. Irvin. They're on tonight at 6:00, and who knows who they're gonna. I gotta find out who he's gonna have on because that Joker he begin A-listers like a son of a gun, boy. They know him. They know them people, and I love it. I love it.
Right?
Yeah, he's plugged. He definitely got the plug, man. I'm telling you. I love it. I love it. So let's bring him on, man. You can find him on Twitter at Jay Coyden. It's JayCoyden. Jason Palmer. Jason, what's up, Baba? How are you?
What's up, fellas? What's up, man? I had to have Ken stay because I'm very disappointed in Ken.
Oh, give me that smoke.
I'm very, very disappointed. I'm disappointed with all of y'all, but Ken more than anybody. So, Ken, what is today? What is today's date?
The 21st of September.
And who is that over my shoulder?
That is the lead singer of Earth, Wind, and Fire. I can't.
That is Maurice White.
I was going to say Maurice. But I wasn't going to get the last name.
That is Maurice White of Earth, Wind, and Fire. Today is September the 21st, and you had not mentioned September, the greatest song ever made by Earth, Wind, and Fire.
I deserve all that.
I'm taking your black card for that, man.
I apologize, sir.
My God.
You're right. And it's funny. I was just looking at something on Instagram this morning about them actually Maurice taking a song from the Emotions and using that to be Earth, Wind, and Fire's first hit. So you're right. I apologize. It's nothing I need to say. I apologize.
He can go now, Ivan. Get him out of here.
That's just cold. All right.
I was waiting. Like, oh, okay, we're gonna have a three-man weave. We're gonna talk a little Bears, little Sox. It's all Sox guys here, man. He's like, all right, you may leave. You have been dismissed.
Right.
It's all good, baby, man. You know, where you want to go with this, Shawn? We got a lot to talk about, man.
We do, man. So we didn't get to talk about the White Sox. They lost 2 out of 3 from the Cincinnati Reds. Right. And has Dylan Cease given up his number 3 slot in the first round of the playoffs?
Yes. Yeah.
Next question.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, listen, the fact that Dane Dunning threw 100-some pitches that last outing means he's stretched out enough. Because I think that's the thing that you were fearing as far as how far can you use him and you have to go into your bullpen. But yeah, I mean, this is all hands on deck type of situation. We can't be waiting around for Dylan Cease to necessarily figure it out. And if he's on 2018 Lucas Giolito, I don't know, it's not as bad, but still he's not necessarily getting it done. Yeah, dog, Dane Dunning, that's your third starter right now. I mean, the crazy thing is this: you're gonna need all of them in that first round. I mean. You're going to need all of them at one point with no days off, basically.
I agree. You know, my thing with Dylan Cease, you know, I'm not hard on the young man. I think eventually he is your number 3 starter. But we have to realize he still has not pitched a full season in the major league. He's still only, you know, does he have 20 starts? He don't even have 20 starts. Yeah, as a major league pitcher. And, you know, I thought Steve Stone said it best yesterday. I think his stuff is so good. And he's been used to just getting by on his stuff that now he has to learn how to pitch because major league players will adjust to you. I mean, Lou Bob is going through it as a hitter. You know, they've made adjustments to him. You see, he's gone through a little slump here. It's the same thing with Dylan Cease. I think he's trying to out-throw his arm. He's like, well, if I just throw it faster, then, you know, I'll get these strikeouts. I'll get a hit. Well, dude, first of all, you ain't even in the strike zone. I think he's got to take something off of his stuff
to get his command.
Right.
Once he gets that, then that stuff will come. It's you know what? It's similar to like form when you're lifting. Like you can't just go and lift heavy because you need the form. You need the base. You need the foundation. Once you're able to once you have the foundation and the form down, then you can go on and lift heavier weight. I think he's got to get that control down, and then add a little velo to every once he's got his control back, add another 1 or 2 miles an hour on a fastball, 1 or 2 miles an hour on a curve, 1 or 2 miles on until you can get it back up to the point where you're throwing you're 90 something on your fastball, but you can pinpoint it. Hey, I'm telling you, when I heard this about 10 years ago, about 10 years ago. Our good old happy uncle Ken Hawk Harrelson said the best pitch in baseball is a well-placed fastball.
Yep.
And I was like, no, because I wasn't really into baseball like that. Mm-hmm. Like I love watching the game, but I didn't start. That's when I really started dissecting the game because I'll never forget because he said that. I'm like, a fastball, but everyone can hit a fastball. A well-placed fastball. I was like, wow. And then you just work off of that. And I think he's got to get once he gains control. Fine. Speaking of fastballs, were you impressed? Did you think he's got a rotation, a spot in this bullpen? Garrett Crochet, dude, he's man. What was that, like 215 miles an hour?
Yes.
I think he hit 101 yesterday.
He hit 102. He hit 102 on Friday when he was in there. He struck out 2 of the first 3 batters he faced on Friday. I was like, oh, this dude is – okay, you bringing it like that, huh? Okay.
That's not when you get happy. That's when you're like, oh, damn.
Hey, I mean, fellas, how important is it to have a left-hander coming out of that bullpen in the playoffs?
Ask the Cubs in 2016. Ask Ivan in 2016.
That's right. Man, this dude – and here's the scary part. He's going to be a starting pitcher?
Right.
Right.
Dude, if you're talking about just predicting, like if Kopech gets his stuff together and this kid can get their stuff together, and look, I was talking about this offseason, and you probably still need to go out and get another pitcher because you don't want to try to throw too many innings if they have a regular season next year on these guys. Mm-hmm. But I think, too, even sticking with the bullpen, if you asked me 2 or 3 weeks ago, I was questioning this bullpen. But, man, you look at what Foster, Marshall, and don't forget Hoyer or Hire, whatever, however you pronounce Shorty's name.
Yeah, Hoyer. Yeah.
Hoyer, he is dealing. All right. When Shorty comes out there, I'm like, oh, yeah. Even Cordero, who 3 weeks ago was like, can you find the strike zone, is actually pitching well. And now the funny
thing, sleeve rolled up on the one arm.
Yeah, I know, right? Only thing missing from his sleeve rolled up, I wish it was like the 50s and he had a pack of squares.
Cigarettes.
like a James Dean type look. I'd be like, all right, you badass you. But now it went from the bullpen to now the starters, because you look at Keiko coming back from 12 days off, and again, he hadn't pitched. And lucky enough, without having his stuff, he got 7 strikeouts, almost getting 8 with his record this year. But when you look at Keiko, Lucas kind of not being Lucas, we know Lucas could usually find himself, and also with Keiko, and now that starting rotation in Jason, it kind of leads to you and your Clevenger stuff. Attack, but I still would have done it. It kind of leads, because I'll tell you this, and one thing I thought about that Clevenger trade, man, would have had to pay through the nose to get an in-division trade from the Cleveland Indians. Like they would have it would have been bananas what they would have had to give, because Cleveland's not trying to see that guy in their division with another year of control on him. So it would have been crazy if they could have pulled that off. But yeah, still, now the starting rotation is kind of the question, especially with this offense necessarily not exploding. But we still got a week and a half to hopefully kind of round out and get back to work. Yeah.
If Bummer comes back, man, we got Bummer, you got Hoyer, Evan Marshall, Jace Fry, Ross Detweiler, Carlos Rodon. Let's not forget about him coming out of the bullpen. That bullpen, Ken, a couple weeks ago, but now that could be a strong part. It could be something similar to the Milwaukee Brewers. Not similar, not like it, where they just say, okay, you 3 are going today. Right. I think we got the starters to go at least six, and 7 hopefully in the playoffs, and then you can mix and match and go batter, 3 batters for 3 batters if necessary. But that bullpen is rather nice right now. Are you worried about Tim Anderson though, guys? He said it was a cramp. He said so. He didn't say it was a pull. He just said it was a cramp. It was 2 different things. So, and they both confirmed it. We both said it was a cramp, Ricky and TA7. So, so what do you do with him? You sit him down for the next couple of days and kind of help him win the batting title because he's a point behind Mayhew. Just blame it on the cramp, or do you want to put him out there?
Well, I think you got to put him out there, Shawn, because I think that this division is still tight. You're only up 2 games on Minnesota, and you want to get that number 1 seed. So, the White Sox still have a lot to play for. You get ready to take on the Indians here these next 4 days, and then you got the Cubs to finish up the season. These next 7 games are going to mean something in the standings. If it's just a cramp, then it shouldn't be any problem with him playing today. If it's truly just a cramp, people come back from cramps in the game, if they're not taken out for it. If it's just a cramp, he was just a little dehydrated, he could be fine by today, after IVs and drinking water. So I am – Tim is not my main concern with this team. I'll say that. I'll let Ken respond to the Tim question, then I'll go into what my main concern is.
No, I totally agree with you. Get him some Pedialyte. If it's a cramp, take care of it. If it's just a cramp. Now, if it's something more, you clearly need to sit him down because, in a way, outside of Jose, he's kind of the engine that sets the table. Clearly he's the leadoff guy, so he sets the table. But, if you think about this year, not even this year, if you think about the last couple of weeks, if Tim Anderson hasn't been doing what Tim Anderson's been doing, there's a lot of less victories here from the times where either hitting home runs. So I'm with you, Jason. If it's just a cramp, play him. If it's something more, sit his ass down for a couple of games.
All right. And now my biggest concern. Okay, I can't take it no more, Shawn. I can't take it anymore.
What can't you take? What can't you take? What can't you take?
Edwin Encarnacion needs to sit his old ass down. He is hitting 160. Yeah. And Ricky Renteria keeps rolling him out there every day. He don't have it no more, man. You got hitters on this team. Sit his butt down. And it's a DH position, which is clearly just an offensive position. That's all you need out of that position is offense. Sit him down, man. I'd rather you play Jared Dyson to get more speed in the lineup. I'd rather you offset McCann and Grandal. There are ways you can do it, but you cannot keep letting this guy be an automatic out in the 5th or 6th spot in your lineup. And what comprehends it is that Nomar Mazara is also not playing worth doggone and you got Adam Engel sitting on the bench.
Yeah, I'd argue if I could on that one, Papa. I'd argue if I could. But what I thought was really, really, really hilarious. So they're on Fox on Saturday. This past weekend, they were on Fox, and AJ was in the booth. You know, when they mic'd up TA7, dude, just mic him up the rest of the last 7 days of the year. Just mic him up, okay? So they mic him up, and so I digress. So they're talking, and Mazzara's up, and he's like, "Yeah, Mazzara hasn't been good for the White Sox this year. He didn't get the power. He's not getting the power the White Sox, had expected. He hasn't hit a home run for the White Sox." I was like, "Yes, AJ, yes."
That was sweet.
Yeah. Talk about poetic justice. That was great.
Also, when him and Tim was going back and forth, and Tim was like, "Hey, I know you're supposed to have some love for us." And AJ was like, "I'm on a national game. I can't necessarily come out and say that." And I had to tell the old lady, I was like, "You had to hear what AJ had to say about when he said he got some love." Because, if you're a Sox guy, and it's funny, I thought about AJ.
Don't even do it, Ivan, you son of a biscuit. Don't even do it.
No, yeah, don't do that. Don't do that right now. Don't even put a punch out there.
Okay, we'll take the old Hakaru. We're good. That's good.
If you're a Sox guy, he's the epitome of when he's on your team, you love him. And it just made me think about how much I love me some AJ Brzezinski hearing him call the game for the Sox. And I was thinking at the time, like, damn, he must really feel good to see this team playing well for what he meant to the Sox and what the Sox necessarily meant to him. So, yeah, it was definitely nice. In a season that we didn't necessarily know we were going to be here, it was definitely nice to have someone that was connected to that 05 team and years after kind of caught his game nationally to kind of let us know how far we've come from how bad this team has been for such a long period of time.
And you did hear him say, he's like, "Hey, well, my loyalties lie." He goes, "I am on a national broadcast, but you know where my heart's at."
Right.
You know where my heart's at.
That felt good. That felt good.
I just think, having those two spots in the lineup that are not giving you any production are really going to catch up with you in the playoffs. If they can't turn around. I think Adam Engel, I don't know who he did wrong in the organization.
Right.
They are not playing that young man, and
somebody got pictures of him.
Right. He's clearly giving you better defense. He's clearly got speed. He's got arm. He's been hitting the ball very well. I just don't understand why they're not giving this guy more play. And I just think sometimes guys, general managers make moves and they have to prove that I wasn't wrong. And just instead of just saying, okay, I missed on this one, I got a guy here who's playing, who's producing. I need to get him in the lineup. So, it'll be real interesting to see if this is Ricky Renteria making these decisions, if this is coming down from up top, or what exactly is going on. Because there's no way you can tell me Adam Engel should not be the starting right fielder for the Chicago White Sox. And there's no reason you can't tell me that anybody other than Encarnacion should be DHing on this team right now.
Real quick, it reminds me kind of like with Ryan Pace, as far as not necessarily saying like this is my running back room. And you saw yesterday when Montgomery went down with the neck stinger or whatever he had, you needed another running back. Now coming to this team, and the crazy part is always being a Sox fan and wanting multi-tool players. Dog, you have a litany of talent. You can have a defensive guy like Adam Engel and a speed guy like you're saying, Jason, with Dyson. This is a time you're supposed to let those guys go out there because you got bombers all around the team. Yep. So that you can give up two spots, and we're not necessarily listen. Adam Engel with his bat is playing better than Mazzara.
He's in 306.
Yeah, so this will be the time to have those guys out there. On top of that, and let's also remember when it comes to Lewis Robert, he's had a couple of gaffes in the outfield as far as necessarily focus. You know what I'm saying? I know it's sometimes you're not gonna catch the ball, but you should aid him with having better defenders out there instead of having this kid running around for the whole damn outfield. So I'm totally on board. I thought about Edward Encarnacion this weekend, and I was like, especially when they was facing the Twins, I was like, do they just want him to be Nelson Cruz? Like, are they like Nelson Cruz, right? You old man, you gonna come out there and give us these numbers? It's like, no, he's not doing that for you. Early in the season, he ran into a few, but he hasn't been doing that for this team so far.
Yeah, well, he's got 10 homers. He's a double-digit homers. But that 180, that 160 batting average is killing us. and I really like. I love what you said, Ken. So you can get Grandal in there every day. Grandal and McCann, and it's three-headed monster. Grandal, McCann, and Abreu. You sit down. You just bat DH. Grandal, you go play first. Okay, Grandal, you're back behind the plate. McCann, you're a DH. Abreu, you're back at first. There's so many, just three-card Montes you can just keep putting in there to keep playing here, and without getting that without taking away, because you still, as the season goes on, you're going to need bats. And I am so happy. And although it's only 72 at bats for Adam Engel, okay, at 300, his body of work isn't as big, but we'll see what he can. To see what he can do. All right, if he's giving you 300, he's hitting 300. I swear I'm telling you, I never thought I'd see Adam Engel hit 300.
Nobody did.
I thought it was like 260 to 280, which would be great. Over a 162 game season. You give me 280 from that Joker in 162 games. Whew. But you give me 300 from this guy in this amount of games, man, and put him in right field. I was kidding yesterday. We were talking. We had this conversation yesterday over at Output. I was like, we might be able to have a new defense. Just put Lewis Robert in left center and Adam Engel in right center, and we're good. And then have a
5-man infield.
5-man infield like softball. Your short center. You know what I'm saying? Like, and nothing getting out of that infield. I'm like, and nothing getting down to that outfield either. So you know what I mean? That those guys run like deer. So, but and the thing I love, Adam, I've seen him bunt, dude. I'm telling you, dude, you get a guy like that bunting, as the third baseman, all right, that you've got to get that ball barehanded because you can't get in your glove and take it out because he's gone. So there's a lot of pressure. And remember, I've said this earlier in the year, even before the season started. Have them play small ball. Okay, you have more than enough guys to bomb. Okay, even with Moncada struggles a little bit. Have him play small ball. I saw him try and bunt the other day. Even TA7, they're playing back at third base. Boom, drop one. You're going to beat it out. Now you're havoc. You're causing havoc on the base paths and messing up with that pitcher. Maybe he hangs one and the guy behind you takes a yard. You have the ability. You have the ability to use your athleticism. Use it. Okay, because when you're 29, 30, 31, that weapon is gone. Okay, that weapon is gone. Like A-Rod stole 30 bases back when he was young. When he was 32, 33, he wasn't stealing bases. That was a weapon taken out of his arsenal. You might as well use it now, all in everything, to get that World Series victory or prepare this year for that World Series victory, in 21 and 22 and 23. Okay, prepare us for that. Okay, but get him using it now.
And you know what, Shawn? And to add on to that, one of my coaches once told me, Jason, speed don't go into no slump. Speed goes into a slump. Speed puts you in pressure. Even on a routine ground ball, you're putting so much pressure on that infield. And I know it as a second baseman and shortstop. Somebody with speed, I'm like, man, I can't bobble the ball. I got to come up. I got to get good, clean.
Got to be clean.
Everything got to be clean. And then once you get on base, you're now putting pressure on the catcher. You're putting pressure on that pitcher. And the White Sox have that weapon. And, it's funny because Jared Dyson is actually the kind of opposite. He's that one outlier in that here's a dude that's 33 years old who's still fast as God knows what.
Dude, that Joker guy, he took off the other day. I was at home watching the game with Moms. I was like, that mug got some purse snatches. I think my mom. I think she wet herself. She started laughing so hard. Like, did you just say purse snatching speed, Shawn? I'm like, purse snatching speed, Mom.
I mean, he is unbelievable. And Shawn, what's the football player who was like that? The cornerback, even
Errol Green.
Errol Green, like 42 years old, still
the 4-3.
Look, me and my buddy used to talk about Antonio Freeman for the Packers, and we used to call him chain snatcher because if he caught the ball, you weren't going to catch. He wasn't fast, but when he had the ball in his hand, you never saw Antonio Freeman get ran down. And he used to run like this, like we used to be like like you said, Percy. He used to run like he stole something real quick. Another thing, talking about Dyson and Engel being on this team, and now I know I'm being on the sunny side of things. But when you have guys like that can get on base, you're flipping that lineup earlier. Because that's one thing that's kind of cool about having Magical at 9 is that of how well he can run on base, but also the guy ahead of him and he's slappy, he can move that guy over. Or if that guy steals a base and that guy's on second, then he's in scoring position. But if you have those speed guys down there at number 8, you're flipping this line over before you get to TA. You know what I'm saying? Like you're putting getting back to you saying small ball, Shawn, you're putting your guys in position to basically explode, and you have to do both. You just can't come out here like we're going to be boppers.
Yeah. And the thing is, why not attack everybody with using all your weapons, use all your bullets, all right? Yeah. And what you do is once you show teams this, like, oh, damn. Okay. Now, so you see Moncada up or you see Adam Engel up, you're like, okay, does the third baseman come in? Does the first baseman come in? Because Adam Engel will shoot it to the right side, and you're drawing an infield. It doesn't need to be hit very hard. All right. And Moncada, the same thing. When you show them, like, okay, now here, if I'm a pitcher, do I give it to him, down the middle because I know they're going to go yard? So do I throw them low so we can, you know what I mean? There's so many different options and different things you have to worry about when you show your whole repertoire of your whole skill set. And it's scary. And you talked about how much pressure it puts on people. The third baseman, man, it's something that I'm upset. It's unfortunate that Rick Renteria doesn't use that as much, and he really needs to use that more. And the reason I wanted him to use it a lot this year, 2 reasons. One, it's a short season, and you're going to have to eke out some. What wasn't it with Yu Darvish? When the Cubs played Yu Darvish, he locked us up like we stole something. Right? Then he finally got him out of the game, and now we went to work. But why not? Or no, because I think we lost 1-0 if I'm not mistaken.
We lost that game. That was the one game they lost in that series.
Yeah. Why not lay down a bunt? Why not lay down a bunt, put the pressure on the third baseman, put it on Chris Bryant, put it on Anthony Rizzo as he comes, you know what I mean? Put pressure on that defense, especially when you got a guy who's dealing, and it really helps. And that's one of my biggest issues with Renteria is not doing that, because again, in 5 years, 7 years, 5 years, they might not have the same speed that they have, and that's not going to be a viable option. Why not use it now? Because that World Series is very doable for us this year and in years to come.
And the scary part is, we know Rentaria's flaws, and there are many of them. And this guy is probably going to win Manager of the Year.
Oh, I didn't think about that. You so Oh no!
Yeah, and then
do that.
Then we'll never get rid of him.
That's exactly why it's like what? Because I can hear management telling us like he's Manager of the Year. It's like, man, I ain't even think about it. Man. Wow.
Hey, it's like they fired the dude from Toronto after he was coach of the year in the NBA. Why not?
True.
Yeah, but listen, but listen, they brought in Nick Nurse though. I mean, when you do that and you bring in a guy that's what, top 5 coach in the NBA right now, and Nick Nurse, he got to be in the top 5 right now. Mm-hmm. So I can get rid of that guy because I mean, who the Sox gonna bring in? But man, yeah, you blew my day there right there. I didn't think
real quick. This just in off the wire, so it's official. Saquon Barkley, it's official. Like we all know, he tore his ACL, so he's done for the
helmet. As soon as he took the helmet off, you knew.
Yeah,
because when you blow
your body,
I've never heard that before. Believe me, you're like, I've never heard that before. That's messed up for such a. Listen, real quick, you know why that's messed up, and it's kind of crazy. For the last 2 years, people were basically been saying, should they deal him while he's in his prime? You know what I'm saying? Because you may be able to get a first-round talent, maybe back for him. And again, not to say that they were, but when he hurt himself, I was like, damn, for that to kind of been the narrative this week when they like to bring that back up since the Giants aren't going anywhere. Well, that's done because now he may be Adrian Peterson to come back in time for next season. But would you want him to be Adrian Peterson? Because you got to get everything you can get out of that kid now. Because I mean, again, he's a phenomenal talent. He should be able to come back and be close to the same guy with that type of athleticism. But, man, and another thing, too. I was talking to an old lady last night, and I had to tell her, stop what you're doing. I want you to see.
Oh, sorry.
I want you to look at Kyler Murray because Saquon Barkley, one of the comps has always been Barry Sanders, and because he's so athletic. But he's in some ways you can say he's even more athletic as far as vertically than Barry. I'm not saying he's better than Barry. That's sacrilegious in my household. But one reason I wanted to look at Murray is because Murray running the ball reminds me of Barry Sanders. That little joker, dog, how he just puts the shift and defenders are just effed up. Like, it's like, and listen, I was a person that I wouldn't have drafted him. You know what I'm saying? Like, for me, I would have lost out again on Murray because I'd be like, dude, Chuddy's not tall enough. But when you see what that little sucker can do with his arm, but also the misdirection when he's out of the pocket, dude, some of those runs, you're like, all right, he about to get blown up. And Chuddy's like, and the guy is just, dude, listen, I got to give props right there to that one, man. This NFL season has been good, to say the least. And my baseball season was doing real good until Mr. Maurice over there came and caught me with September and then hit me with the 3 is about to be manager of the year. And I'm telling you, I was stupid on this one because I should have known that, and I have never thought about that. I've been enjoying the Sox so much. I have never thought about that this entire season. Clearly, with them having the best record, especially a team that wasn't supposed to have been in contention. Wow, Jason, props to you on ruining my day, brother. Good Monday. Good Monday to you, sir.
Hey, and then the last thing, this just came across the wire as well. Christian McCaffrey is out the next 4 to 6 weeks with a high ankle sprain. That's according to Ian Rappaport. So a couple of casualties yesterday.
That's good though. I'm gonna tell you why that's good. Don't overuse that kid when you guys are trying to get Trevor Lawrence in the first place. Don't beat up a weapon. I'm gonna do like with Joakim Noah. I love Joakim Noah. With the year I love Joakim Noah. The year he won Defensive Player of the Year, I was happy for him. But when they decided basically that they was going to get rid of Luau, I would have been like, Joe, guess what? It's vacation time, buddy. You say Joe was never the same. And we all knew Joe only had so many bullets. If you knew Joakim Noah, you knew he only had so many bullets. And all that year when he was playing point center, I'm like, so we gonna kill Shorty right now because we can't do anything, right? And don't do that with Christian McCaffrey. Christian McCaffrey, one of the best running backs in the league. You can say the best with all his versatility. And you're looking to get a quarterback. There's no reason to sit there and beat this kid down on a year where you're not even trying. If I was the GM or head coach, I'm going to be happy. Take your time in coming back because I want you to be behind that young quarterback and alleviate some of the pain that he's going to be going through when he's getting learning about the NFL necessarily in his rookie season.
Yeah, that's definitely good. That's a great idea. And if you're a Carolina Panther fan, I know you like that idea. So yeah, 6 weeks to put him at come back at the 8-week or 9-week mark. So pretty much half the season. Yeah, get him out because he is a talent, man. He is. Man, he's definitely better than his father, and I know his father don't have no problem with it. But I'm just saying, man, his father was good.
It wasn't bad.
Ed was good.
Yeah.
But he was like, "That's my boy. That's my boy." Hey, Ken, thanks, buddy. I appreciate you hanging in, doing a little overtime with us. And I had no idea Jason was going to come at you like that, dog.
It hit me with Ricky and Renteria information, but you got have a great week. I'll definitely holler at you Friday, bro.
All right,
man. Thanks. Hey, we got to take a quick break, and on the other side of the break, we have it's the final break of the show. We have some good conversation. Jason and I, we're going to talk a little NBA. We're going to talk some more Bears. We're going to talk some more White Sox, maybe a little Cubs. Who knows? So we got to get that all in the next 30 minutes. So don't go anywhere. Keep it locked right here. Shawn and Maya in the morning on SportsZone Chicago.
BoomerNaturals.com presents the Sports Flash on 1330 and 95.9 The Zone.
Thinking about what to do. Resettles, now flips it into the end zone. Left side, up in the air, making a catch. Touchdown, Bears, Darnell Mooney.
Bears radio at the call, a 17-13 win over the Giants on Sunday. Mitchell Trubisky, 18 of 28 passing, 2 touchdowns, 190 yards. He was picked off twice. Chicago nearly coughed up a 17-point lead after the half, but able to hold on to improve to 2-0. Jose Barrios struck out 4 and held the Cubs to 4 hits over 6 innings as Minnesota shut out Chicago 4-0. The Cubs still with a 3.5 game lead atop the NL Central. The Reds with a 7-3 win over the White Sox. Mike Moustakas with a 2-run single. Cincinnati scored 5 times in the 4th en route to the win. Boomer Naturals, your source for 3-layer protective face masks. Breathable protection for adults and kids. Save 20% with promo code SPORTS at BoomerNaturals.com. Chuck Sanders, that's the Sports Flash, 1330 95.9 The Zone.
This week at Macy's, it's full on fall, and we're so ready for it with the latest trends for cool and crisp weather ahead. Chic black and white styles will be your go-to. Classic plaids feel bold and put together, and so many bright hues add that extra pop to any look. Plus, you won't want to miss new arrivals from your favorite brands like Ink, Calvin Klein, Tommy Hilfiger, and more. Now at Macy's. And Star Rewards members earn on every purchase except gift cards, services, and fees. More info at Macys.com/Star Rewards.
Cleanings, checkups, and cavities? Have Dr. Chang's dental practice at capacity.
Patient in room 1 is getting a root canal. The x-rays in room 2 are going to have to wait. We're down to 1 hygienist.
It's time to hire.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. The moment you sponsor a job on Indeed, you get a short list of quality candidates from our resume database. Indeed delivers 2.5 times more hires than the other branded job sites combined, according to Breezy HR 2019. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get a $75 credit for your first job post. Terms and conditions apply.
Welcome back to Shawn and Maya in the morning on SportsZone Chicago. Sitting here with our good buddy Jason Palmer. He is the co-host of the What's Up Cuz show right here on SportsZone Chicago. Who you got on today, Papa? I know you always got some bangers on. So who you got on today?
Yeah, we got a big hitter on today. In light of the information that came out last week, the Big Ten decided, hey, we're going to play this football starting October the 24th. So we reached out to one of cousin Lance's good friends and a Julian Jaguar grad, Howard Griffith.
Super Bowl winner
and Big Ten Network anchor guy. And Howard's going to come on. We're going to talk a lot of college football on this show. We haven't talked a lot of college football on our show, mostly because all the teams haven't come online yet. There'll be more teams. The SEC starts this Saturday, for instance. And it's Miami. It's Miami, Florida State, Saturday night, baby. So so that's a good game. So we're gonna talk to Howard about what's going on in college football, and right now he's our only guest. And we're gonna kind of open up our show and talk to our fans. We've been wanting to do that. This is our 10th show number 10, and we want to kind of reach out to the people, get some questions from them, some feedback from them on how they're liking the show, and some questions that they have about me and Lance. And we got some things here in the coming weeks. We got some more guests coming on. We got Tracy Webster coming on pretty soon. We got Townsend Orr coming on pretty soon. We got some more NBA players coming on. I think we're going to get Jabari Parker to come on the show here pretty soon. So we got a lot of people lined up. A lot of them are still in their sports season. But we're going to have a lot of people coming up here. And we next Monday, we're hopefully going to have the Cubs beat writer for the Chicago Sun-Times. They got a new beat writer over there at the Sun-Times, and it's a brother. He's the first brother to ever do it. He made history. So we're going to try to get him on next week at the end of the regular season to talk to us as well. But tonight, Howard Griffith, college football, real heavy is where we're going. And we may get a surprise guest. You know us. We throw those surprises in for our listeners, too. We get someone to jump on. So looking forward to it, and looking forward to our poll question and poll question results from last week. And kind of interesting, we asked the question last week, what do we think the Bears are going to do after that first game? We asked people, are they going to make the Super Bowl? Are they going to be a playoff team? Are they going to be an average team that not makes the playoffs? Or are they just going to be awful? So we're going to give people those poll results today, too.
Oh, man, you have a slam-packed show, and that's only having one guest. My goodness.
Yeah.
With the possibility of more. That's great stuff. Make sure you tune in today, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time for What's Up Cuz with our guy here, Jason Palmer, along with his co-host and his actual cousin, Lance C. Irvin. Not his play cousin, not his my play cousin. It's his actual cousin, Lance C. Irvin. And,
we were actually in each other's wedding.
Oh yeah! Wow. Okay.
So we're definitely blood cousins. Yep.
Okay. Let's get back to sports. So what are you thinking, man? What do you this Bears team? And everyone like they were coming, like Ivan was coming at me, and Ken was coming at me. Like I listen. I get Mitch's is his 4th year. I get it. I'm not absolving him from his mistakes, and he needs to grow. He needs to he's got to step up, man. But they're also, with the athletes today, they're a little different than they were, when we played. I don't know, tougher skin. We could take more criticism. Our egos wouldn't be crushed if we got called out or
right. I mean, the coach was usually cussing you out.
usually.
That's how I know you love me, coach.
Yeah. But again, I think that I think Matt Nagy's got to do a much better job of keeping him in first half mode last week and fourth quarter mode the week before. If you can do that, then he's okay. Because unfortunately, you got to coddle kids, and believe me, I hate that. I'm old school, and I had to learn that the hard way when a couple of my players just kind of shut down when I yelled at them. Like I'm not yelling at you as a person. I'm yelling at you as a football player. You son of a gun! What the hell? But it was like, oh, frustrating. But so I get it. I see. But Mitch has got to. When it comes down to it, Mitch has got to step up. Matt Nagy's got to put him in the best position, and once he's in the best position, then Mitch has got to step up. Mitch and I don't know, as I said, I don't know if you listened earlier. I said Mitch can be. I think the ceiling for Mitch is a middle of the pack of a above average quarterback. I say that's his ceiling. He's not going to be at the top of the pack. He's not going to be a star, a superstar. I think his ceiling is middle of the pack of above average quarterbacks. And then his floor, well, I think we may have seen his floor a couple of times. But, I just think Nagy has to put him in those positions. And if he can get there, good, which I think he can. If he doesn't, then yank the chain. Like, you're out.
Yeah, I think that's a realistic expectation for Mitch Trubisky. I'm going to be positive. I know Ivan and Ken were going on you kind of hard. I'm going to look at all the positive things that I saw out of the Bears. I do agree with that assessment of Mitch, and I think if fans can also have that expectation of him, I think a lot of the noise quiets down, because I think right now all of us are still trying to equate him with being the overall pick number 2. Was it number 2 or number 3?
Number 2 overall.
Right, number 2 overall. He's not that guy. So we just need to accept that. It's like, sometimes when you're dating a person and you realize, they may have potential, but at a certain point, they are who they are. You have to accept them for who they are. I'm going to accept Mitch for who he is. But the thing two areas I've been really impressed with the Bears is, one, the offensive line, which I know I spoke with you a lot about, having to get that unit going and getting the running ball, getting the running game going, and also with David Montgomery. He is very impressive. When I saw him go out yesterday with that injury, I was like, oh, that could be a concussion. That could be, something broken in the neck. That could have went a whole lot of bad ways. So, especially once I saw them take him out of the tent and was taking him back in the locker room. So I was really nervous about that. I was glad to see him get back on the sideline. I was really shocked he came back in the game and looked like he didn't skip a beat. I think
no limit soldier. Sorry.
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, he is a player. He is a player. And they need to give him the ball more. I mean, on that touchdown catch, the moves he made after the catch. Okay, Trubisky's going to get credit for the yardage, but that was YAC all day long.
Yeah, it was, yeah. Yep.
I love this kid. I saw the Tariq Cohen contract. I was like, okay. I don't think he warrants that because you don't even use him enough. But okay, this is what you're doing, So I think that also is what fired up Allen Robinson. But I think David Montgomery is a really a heck of a running back for this team. And I think they got to find ways to get him the ball more often, even if that means less carries for Tariq, even if that means less carries for Patterson. I think he's a kid that you can give him the ball 25 to 30 times a game, and he's going to get you probably 100 yards and 1 TD a game.
Minimum, yeah. Yeah, minimum. I think he could be a workhorse. I too, like you, I love what this offensive line is doing. And, I don't think he hit 20. I don't think he hit 30 week 1, but it was pretty high. It's like 26, 27, maybe 28 rushes in week 1. Ivan, can you check that out real quick for us? How many rush attempts in week 1? But he hit his 32 yesterday, and what I've said on the show numerous times, you tell the offensive line we're running 30 times and they know they're running the ball 30 times, man, you see a whole different offensive lineman. to a man. You will see, because you talk about guys getting fired up and lathered up. Like, I get to push your ass around 30 times and let my running back roll through. Yeah, because that's an offensive lineman. They're not made. They don't. No one becomes an offensive lineman to pass block.
Right.
I come to move your ass out of the way because I'm bigger, I'm better, I'm stronger than you, and you're not gonna have a damn thing to say about it. And that's the mentality that great offensive linemen have, or just linemen, period. And when you tell them you're running the ball 30 times, you get to move that joker 30 times. Come on, man.
So the rushing breakdown for yesterday goes like this: David Montgomery, the leader, with 16 attempts, 82 yards. Cordero Patterson coming in second with 7 rushing attempts, 25 yards. Then it goes Trubisky, 4 for 16, and Cohen, 5 for 12.
No, did you see? I want to see if you can get us the rushing numbers, or how many times they rushed week 1, because they had 32 rushes yesterday. I want to see what he had as far as rushes for week 1 against the Lions.
Well, let me do some math.
Yeah, I agree with you, Shawn. You know, one thing, and I think you're absolutely right. I mean, when you think of offensive linemen, when you see them out on the practice field, they're working on the sled. They're pushing the sled forward. They're not backing up, playing pass protection. So I think I agree with you. It's just in their DNA to move stuff.
It's 32 overall.
32 overall.
Mm-hmm.
From against the Lions? No,
against the Lions as well.
Yeah, no, yesterday was 32. No, we had that one. I knew that one. I need one from week 1 because I don't think they hit.
Okay, my mistake.
I don't think they hit week 1, hit 30, but I think it was definitely in the mid to high 20s.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so I like this, and I'm not ready to call them a running team yet, but I like the path that they're on.
Mm-hmm.
I like the path that they're on.
So I guess the question I have for you, when you coach with the offensive linemen, that's their mentality. They want to be aggressive. They want to move people around. What other kind of sports do they use for the offensive linemen to help them kind of keep that aggressiveness and learn techniques?
So 27 from the week before. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So you're just under averaging 30 a game in the first 29 and a half a game. See how I did that real fast? Same read education. Yeah, that's good. Well, one of the things, here's the thing: when I was coaching at Curie and at Bogan, actually Little Village as well. When you played football, after football season, you had a couple options. Either you played basketball, which some kids did. Okay, no problem. You wrestled for all my fat boys and my defensive players, or you ran track.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and if you didn't want to wrestle, well, you had to do one of those things. Mm-hmm. If you're one of my offensive linemen, then you're throwing a shot put, you're throwing a discus. Okay, you're still wearing the sprint workouts with the sprinters. You're just going to be slower than them, but you're still going to move. Okay, but wrestling is probably the biggest one that we would love our linebackers and offensive linemen, because now you're really digging. Now you're using leverage, and you're mass on mass. You know what I mean? And it translates very well to what is it? Armando, as an old offensive lineman, to maul the defense, to steamroll them is a happy day for an old lineman. Yeah,
right. There you go. There you go.
I'm telling you, it's a mindset, man. And so those were the sports they had. They had a choice of 3, but I liked for them to do wrestling, but I also like for them to do track, because I wanted my offensive line, because we're still in the weightlifting. We're still in the weightlifting program. So you're lifting, but also you're running. So not only are you getting stronger, you're getting faster, you're getting quicker, because it's not just sprints that we worked on. I work on offensive line with agility. And I'll never forget, I asked when I was at Bogan, well, if you're on Bogan, right by where the football entrance, or the entrance to the school, by the park, there's a strip of grass that goes along the building that's maybe 5 feet, 3 feet, 5 to 5 feet wide, from the building out.
Yep.
And I asked our coach, Eric Ware, at the time, I was like, is there a way we can get sand in here? And I was like, dude, if we can get sand in here, I said, we will be the best team around. I said, we're gonna train on sand. I said, the offensive lineman, I said, because people don't realize that's why them Florida boys are fast. If you ever played in a football field in Florida, they're mostly sand. There's grass on it, but it's a lot of sand. And so what happens is the stability of sand is nowhere near that of grass, natural grass, or artificial turf.
Correct.
So the stability, your stabilizer muscles are because you have to get stronger so you can run on the sand. So when you're on natural grass and you're on turf, you don't have to stabilize anymore. You're stabilized, but you're strong. That's why the Florida boys are fast. If you know, a lot of colleges have a sand pit now, or the offensive linemen will train in a sand pit, so they're able to pull quicker and things like that. So we were ahead. We were doing a lot of stuff over at Curie and at Bogan.
Interesting.
Just trying to get that together.
Yeah, I met a guy once. He was an offensive lineman in college, and he said one of the things he did, his father was in the I think his father was in the Air Force. I know he was in the military, but so he kind of lived in Japan, kind of growing up, and he was a big guy. So he did sumo wrestling.
That's awesome, man.
Right. And he said, it helped him as an offensive lineman because sumo wrestling, a lot of people look at it, it's just these big guys. He said, a lot of people don't understand. A lot of it is really technique in learning how to leverage your weight. And also there's a lot of hand stuff that they do too. And he said it was really good because it teaches them how to get the defensive lineman's hands off of them or slap the hands down when they're trying to get their hand up to block down a pass. So, I always think offensive linemen, I think they get like some of the coolest kind of off-season training sports to participate in. And like you were saying, your guys are doing, whether they're doing shot put or throwing a hammer or, whatever it is. I think that is one position on a football team where you really can see the guys doing a lot of different stuff to build up their skills.
Yeah, when I was at Curie, the offensive line coach, and he actually came to Bogan with me as well, Kelsey O'Neill. He, I forgot where he went. What's the school up north that Leslie Frazier coached at?
North Park?
No, Trinity.
Okay.
So he went. Yeah, and so he went there, and they taught him hand-to-hand combat. And so you see him like a lot of indie drills are individual. For those who don't know what indie, when we say indie drills, it's individual. So a lot of indie drills, one part of indie drills for him was him and the Hogs were just literally hand fighting movements. Like boom, when you put your hand down, replace them, or all that stuff, and you sit there and you're like, wow, like you don't realize if you're not in tune to the game, you don't realize how important it is to have those hand fighting skills or those hand skills because it's so one mover. The bottom line is to get your hands on the other guy first.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then he's going to try and knock your hands off and you have to replace, and it's just a battle. Right. So who leverages who's got better grip, who's got their hands in the right spot. And so, him teaching these kids, we had so many good offensive linemen. Some maybe didn't go to college, but we made the best of them. We made them serviceable because of their skill in hand fighting techniques and hand placement, just the hand-to-hand combat that Kelsey would do with these kids. And, you had guys who, you had a tough time walking and chewing gum at the same time, but you let them go and you teach them some tricks like that, like they actually use in the street. Oh God!
Mm-hmm.
But they're like, oh man, it really works. And we took a lot of linemen and made them more than serviceable, which was really good for us and for our offense. So, that was definitely some of the good times. We just love to run, just like I want the Bears to do coming up. One of the things that I really want. I want to see more Darnell Mooney.
Mm-hmm.
I was really impressed with this kid. The one thing, not only his touchdown was huge, and here's why. He could have stood there, like he stepped in, he got in front of the DB, and he could have just stepped in there and just jumped and caught the ball, but the DB would have been right there on him. So he steps in. I don't think he swam. I think he just kind of punched through, got positioning in front of him, basically boxed him out. But then the ball's in the air, he ran to the ball. He lunged at the ball. So he created separation from the DB. Because if you saw, he jumped up and he jumped away, and the DB jumped and he landed on his leg. But when he came down, he's already in the end zone. He's like, get off me. Very, very savvy. All right. That was something really nice to see from a rookie. Okay. That's something I would say, like, as a senior, there you go. Good. Mm-hmm. That's exactly it. So as a senior in college, you could see that, but what's funny? Sometimes people say, well, that's a rookie mistake. That's a rookie mistake. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. You had to have been a badass some other place, in college where you did this, and people are like, oh, well, that's a veteran move. Those things don't go away. Like those small nuances don't go away. Creating separation, coming back to the ball. Like why you've done that before in college and high school, and when you do it in the pros, if you don't, why people sometimes forget in the pros, I don't understand, because you've done it before when you were the man. But the biggest thing that I liked about him, if you go back and you watch that touchdown run from the reception, I should say, from David Montgomery, the last non-block was Darnell Mooney. Darnell Mooney went and jumped in front of the guy, put his hands up to show he's not hitting blocking. He basically bumped him out of the way, which is allowed, which is legal. And to have that foresight as a rookie, in addition to the way he caught the ball that Ivan has on the screen here, in addition to that play, shows me he's got a very, very high football IQ.
Yeah, I agree. And I think the wide receiver core is an underrated group. I think we haven't seen the skills as they really have them. And a lot of that, I'm not going to put on Mitch. I'm being positive out here, but the receivers got to have people who can get them the ball. They got to run the right routes. They got to get themselves open. What I am seeing this year from this Bears receiving core is that they are getting that separation that we were not seeing last year, where they are getting open so that they are eligible to receive the pass from Mitch. And I'm very impressed with that, the depth of this wide receiver core. I'm still, like you, waiting to see our guy. What's our guy? His brother plays for the Falcons.
Riley
Ridley. I'm still waiting to see Ridley. Ridley to me is an Adam Engel for the Bears. It's like, let's see this guy, see what he can do. I think he can make plays, and I'm not understanding why he's not on the field. I'm not understanding why. That's probably my biggest concern with the Bears. I think they got some internal stuff that we just don't know about. And I think because due to COVID, people like me in the media, where, you don't really have those beat reporters who are able to talk to these guys in the locker room and get some stories. I think there's some drama going on in this team. And I don't know if it's because people don't have confidence in the coach. I don't know if they don't have confidence in Mitch. But I think there's some stuff going on behind the scenes, like there always is with every team. But because I just think that wide receiver core is very, very talented. So
I think so too. And then you see Javon Williams caught a touchdown pass last week. He had a catch or two yesterday. I like this guy. I like this guy. God bless it. Just throw it to him in the end zone, in the red zone. Throw it up. Just throw it up, my man. It's like I just don't get it. That is taking candy from a baby. That right there is taking candy from a baby. A basketball player, 6'3", with a 37-inch vertical. Throw that joker up. I'm coming to get it. I'm going to get it. I'm grabbing it off. I'll just yank it down. And at 6, when we were talking last week, I think you were on, Ivan, where he said, you throw in Allen Robinson, you throw in the tight end they just got.
Jimmy Graham.
You throw in Javon Williams, you throw in Cole Kmet, and you throw in Patterson.
Mm-hmm.
On the goal line. That's your starting 5.
Yeah.
It's jump ball for all these guys. You know what I mean? And whoever's open. All right, send one right if they're got a single high, you send one right to single high to occupy him. And then now you got other guys that send 2 guys deep. There's one guy run a corner, the other guy run a slant, and you throw that slant up.
Is that partly because Mitch shells the ball? So you get these monsters that could just jump out of the stadium. So
yeah,
nullify that.
That nullifies that.
I'm being serious. Like, I know it sounds facetious, but it makes sense to me. Like, I mean, that would be a remedy. Like that's showing me that you're trying to do something, but you still want Mitch to be the quarterback.
Yeah, especially if he sails it in the end zone. Hey, I'll take a Cordell Patterson or Javon Williams or Jimmy Graham or Allen Robinson going up for a jump ball in the end zone. I'll take it.
Mm-hmm.
I'll take it more often than not. I will take it. So, we will. We'll see. Hopefully now you can get it. And I hope he listens to it. I should call my guy and tell him to tell Ryan Pace and tell Matt to just throw it up in the end zone for these guys. But anyway, hey, listen, we 3 hours is come and gone, man. I wanted to say thank you. We had a great show. Thanks to Joseph Phillips for sitting in for the top of the morning segment. Thanks to Louis Medina from Bleacher Nation for calling in and for coming on and talking Bears and Cubs. Thanks to my guy Kenneth Davis, who had the second leg of the relay. Thanks to my guy Jason Palmer with the anchor leg from the 11 to 12 o'clock hour. I want to thank my technical director Elliot Baez. I want to thank our social media guy Clarence Council III. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention he is our Puerto Rican Swiss Army knife. He's a little internet superstar now. He got his own 2 shows. He's like easy there. Good. He got 2 good shows on Sunday. The Barely pregame with him and Michael Halatek, and then Basement Monsters podcast, where they do a little pregame for the Bears, halftime, postgame, and then they talk all NFL. I want to thank him, my Puerto Rican Swiss Army knife himself, Ivan Vargas. All you guys made it a phenomenal show. We appreciate it. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a 45-hour break. And on the other side of that 45-hour break, we'll be back at 9 a.m. on Wednesday. So for all those guys, for Jason Palmer and my Puerto Rican Swiss Army knife, Ivan Vargas.
Like I said, I'm happy with the win. A win is a win is a win, but I want better.
You know what? That's probably the most succinct and perfect way to put it. I'm happy with the win, and we want more. We want better. Good stuff. Good-ish. Guys, I'm your boy, the Superback Shawn Sierra. We'll see you on Wednesday, 9 a.m. to noon, Central Standard Time. Until then, download the app, download the app, download the app. Subscribe on YouTube, subscribe on YouTube, subscribe on YouTube. We out.
BoomerNaturals.com presents the